Chapter 21-23. Yun Haoge is being restrained. A great emperor explained. Restrained? Some people were confused, while others were deep in thought. One of the top 10 battle beasts, the spacetime spirit mouse, is born with the ability to control spacetime. Although Yun Haoge is the spacetime son, he's still a bit weaker than the spacetime spirit mouse. Therefore, he's being restrained in terms of spacetime laws. The martial monarch explained once again. Everyone was enlightened. The spacetime spirit mouse could only unleash its true strength after revealing its true form. It could use the spacetime laws to the fullest, and even control Yun Haoge's spacetime laws. It could be said that Yun Haoge was no longer a match for Bubbles. Whoosh! Bubble traveled through spacetime. Her body was small, but wherever she passed, spacetime followed. The space wrapped around her like water, and endless spacetime power charged at Yun Haoge. Yun Haoge roared. He was a little unwilling and wanted to flip over. Unfortunately, it was useless. At this moment, he couldn't control the spacetime laws effectively. It was extremely difficult to control them. Without the spacetime laws, how could he be Bubbles' opponent? He was sent flying again and coughed up blood. With your strength, you want to take me as a pet beast? You're overestimating yourself. I said that you'd be more suitable to be my human pet. Hurry up and kneel down and call me master. Bubble was extremely excited. She traveled through the void and slapped Yun Haoge with her little paw. Yun Haoge roared in anger. He unleashed his full strength, but it was useless. He couldn't defy the heavens. He was completely suppressed by Bubble. In the end, his face was scratched by Bubble, leaving a claw mark. You have my mark on your face. You're now my human pet. Chirp chirp, chirp chirp, Bubble screamed excitedly. Yun Haoge was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. Many people were speechless. They could see that compared to the spacetime spirit mouse, Bubble was still in its infancy. She wasn't deliberately humiliating Yun Haoge. However, in Yun Haoge's eyes, it was a blatant humiliation. He roared in anger, but in the end, he still rushed down the battle platform in humiliation and admitted defeat. He knew that if he continued to fight, he would only be humiliating himself. That guy. Yes, that guy has a good relationship with the spacetime spirit mouse. I'll take revenge on him later. Yun Haoge was infuriated. He glanced at Lu Ming. He couldn't beat Bubbles, so he could only get back at her from Lu Ming. Lu Ming noticed Yun Haoge's gaze and was speechless. Why was this guy staring at him with a face full of resentment? Lu Ming pursed his lips and didn't take it to heart. If this guy didn't know what was good for him, he wouldn't mind giving him a beating when they met again. Bubbles won the match. Whoosh! Bubble transformed back into human form and hung on Lu Ming's neck. Big brother Lu Ming, I'm awesome, right? Chirp. Bubbles pouted. Amazing, amazing. Bubbles is the best. Lu Ming said with a smile. Bubbles is the best. Come, let sister hug you. Lu Xiang walked over and looked at Bubbles, her eyes shining. Lu Xiang's eyes were twinkling with little stars after seeing Bubbles' original form. Little guy, don't be rude. You have to call me auntie. Chirp. Bubbles pouted and looked at Lu Xiang with disdain. Lu Xiang immediately retreated with a bitter face, causing Qiu Autumn Moon, Huang Ling, and the others to laugh. Everyone looked at Lu Ming with envy in their eyes. Lu Ming not only had 2 Elysian children as his disciples, but he also seemed to have a good relationship with the spacetime spirit mouse. Especially Yun Haoge, his eyes were full of jealousy. The third match, Yuan Xian against the ancient demon. The white-haired old man announced again. The scene fell silent, and everyone's attention was drawn back. 2 figures stepped into the arena. It was Yuan Xian and the ancient demon. Boom! Without saying much, they directly attacked. A terrifying collision occurred. The son of chaos, Yuan Xian, punched the air with astonishing power. It was like a huge mountain pressing down on the ancient demon. The ancient demon was covered in demonic light. He cultivated the primordial path of demons, and his attack power was astonishing. He clashed fiercely with Yuan Xian. In the first 10 moves, the two were evenly matched. After 10 moves, Yuan Xian did not hold back and unleashed his full strength. 2-star illusionary emperor. This was Yuan Xian's strength, and he had already reached the peak of the 2-star illusionary emperor. 2 years ago, Yuan Xian had just broken through to the martial emperor realm. After cultivating for 2 years, he had already reached the peak of the 2-star illusionary emperor realm. This speed was very shocking. Every breakthrough in the martial emperor realm was very difficult and required a lot of time. Some martial emperors were trapped in the same realm for hundreds of thousands of years and could not break through. In the end, they died under the lightning tribulation. This was also because Yuan Xian had entered that space that he could break through so quickly. Yuan Xian, who had unleashed his full strength, was extremely terrifying. He could completely suppress the ancient demon. It was not that the ancient demon was weak. He was very strong, and there were not many opponents at the same level as him. Unfortunately, his cultivation was still a little weak. He was only a 1-star illusionary emperor, and it was difficult for him to fight against Yuan Xian. After a few moves, the ancient demon coughed out blood and retreated. He was defeated by Yuan Xian. It's a pity that the ancient demon's cultivation is still a little weak. If he reaches the 2-star illusionary emperor realm, he might be able to compete with Yuan Xian. The power of the primordial path of demons is really amazing. Some people discussed, looking at the potential of the ancient demon. However, in the next moment, the crowd looked forward to it even more. There were 4 people left: Tian Ming, Wu Liang, Bao De and Xia Ku. These 4 people were extremely terrifying geniuses. 2 years ago, they had already broken through to the martial emperor realm. Next, the 4 of them were going to fight. It would definitely be a battle of the peak. Wu Liang, Xia Ku. The white-haired old man announced. The crowd immediately became nervous. Wu Liang was a Buddhist genius who had suddenly risen in recent years. He had displayed unparalleled talent. He had been bragging to the outside world that he was the reincarnation of the Buddha God and that his previous life was an unparalleled almighty. Although his character was sometimes criticized, his talent and combat strength were real. He stood at the peak of Yuan continent. As for Xia Ku, he was a real dragon who had cultivated the primordial path of demons. He had an unparalleled demonic body and was also incomparably powerful. Who would win? The crowd was filled with anticipation. 2 figures stepped into the fighting ring. I have hair. Benefactor, you and I are fated. Why don't you be my guardian divine beast? Wu Liang said with a straight face. Monk, are you insulting me? I will twist your head off. Xia Ku's face was ferocious. Xia Ku came from the land of divine beasts. The land of divine beasts was home to various powerful divine beasts such as real dragons, phoenixes and cheilants. He was the number 1 genius in the land of divine beasts. Now, Wu Liang wanted to take him in as his guardian divine beast. How could he not be angry? I have hair. Benefactor, you want to twist my head off as soon as you open your mouth. Your killing intent is too strong. You should return to Buddhism and refine your killing intent. Wu Liang said with a straight face. Lu Ming and Long Chen despised him. This monk was definitely up to no good. Refine your head. Die. Chapter 21-24. The purple gold true dragon could be said to be the royal family of the true dragons and was extremely powerful. The dragon claw stepped on the air and clawed at monk Wuliang. There was no fluctuation of the laws, but no one doubted the power of the claw. It could easily tear a one-star empty emperor apart. "You're so stubborn. Be careful, I'll catch you and cook you for my wine," monk Wuliang shouted. Everyone looked at each other. Lu Ming and Long Chen looked at monk Wuliang with disdain once again. This was probably monk Wuliang's true intention. Wang. Unscrupulous monk's body glowed with golden light. Behind him, a golden Buddha statue appeared. It was 100 feet tall. Unscrupulous monk stood on top of the Buddha statue. The Buddha statue waved its hand, and a mountain-like hand blasted towards Chiel. Boom! A terrifying vibration sounded. The two of them were evenly matched. 9 attacks of the demon god. Xia Ke let out a long roar and unleashed a terrifying attack technique of the immemorial demonic Tao. His body glowed as 5 dragon claws attacked continuously. Each attack was terrifying to the extreme, capable of tearing apart the void and shattering the earth. Fortunately, this battle stage was made by a great emperor and was indestructible. No matter how they fought, they could not destroy it. Buddha Kingdom in the palm. Heartless monk had a dignified appearance as he displayed the great divine ability of Buddhism. He stretched out his hand and a palm stretched out. It rapidly enlarged and pressed towards Chiel. There seemed to be a Buddha kingdom in his palm. There were 3,000 golden arhats chanting scriptures. The golden light was more dazzling than the sun. Boom! Boom! Monk Wuliang and Xia Ke's cultivation had both reached the 2-star empty emperor realm. They were extremely powerful. The dragon's roar shook the sky and the chanting of scriptures resounded throughout Destiny Mountain. The two of them continued to exchange blows and exchanged dozens of blows. What terrifying combat strength! I'm afraid that an ordinary 3-star empty emperor would be torn apart instantly. Someone from the empty emperor realm said solemnly. He has just broken through to the martial emperor realm and hasn't comprehended any other laws. Yet, he's already so terrifying. The others exclaimed. There were many factors that determined one's combat strength in the martial emperor realm. However, it was shocking to have such combat strength after just breaking through to the empty emperor realm a few years ago. The two of them fought fiercely. They used all kinds of trump cards and displayed a pinnacle battle. This was the most intense battle in the competition for the top 10 positions. The two of them were evenly matched, and it was difficult to determine the victor in a short period of time. The battle lasted for more than 200 rounds. I am the reincarnation of the Buddha God. Little worm, come and protect me. In the future, you will live a good life. If I have meat to eat, you will have soup to drink. Unscrupulous monk shouted as he fought. Chiel was so angry that his nose was about to become crooked. He was a purple gold true dragon, a royal among the true dragons, yet he was called a little reptile. Also, aren't Buddhists vegetarians? Why the f***ck are you eating meat? Amitba. Some of the Buddhists who were watching the battle had solemn expressions on their faces. They chanted the name of Buddha and seemed a little embarrassed. However, although Wu Yang was unreliable, his battle prowess was indeed ridiculously strong, making people shudder. From the start of the battle until now, his body was blooming with tens of thousands of rays of Buddha's light. It was as if the more he fought, the more courageous he became. It was as if the Buddha had truly turned around, and the Dharma of Buddhism was boundless. Many people were indignant. This fellow was so unreliable, but his Buddhist divine abilities were inconceivably powerful. It really made them envious. The battle continued, and both of them were injured. Chiel's scales fell off, and he was dripping with blood. On the other hand, unscrupulous monk was scratched by the dragon claws, and a few hideous claw marks appeared. One of his arms was almost torn off. This was a tragic battle. You are too cruel. Be careful of retribution. Wu Liang shouted, but he was more ruthless than anyone else. All kinds of Buddhist divine abilities greeted Chiel's body, and a large number of scales fell off. These scales are treasures. Don't waste them. And the dragon blood, take it back and make soup. In the battle, unscrupulous monk did not forget to take the dragon scales and dragon blood. Chiel was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. He was so angry that he attacked crazily. In his anger, he finally revealed a flaw. Unscrupulous monk seized the opportunity and continuously attacked him fiercely. He vomited blood and kept retreating. In a battle between experts, a step behind would lead to a step behind. Once Chiel was at a disadvantage, it was difficult for him to reverse the situation. At first, he was suppressed by unscrupulous monk, and finally, he was knocked out of the fighting ring. Unscrupulous won this battle. Me-haired, thank you for letting me win. Well, about the protector I mentioned before, please consider it. Unscrupulous monk's eyes could not leave Chiel. He imagined how cool it would be if he had a purple gold true dragon as a mount. Get lost. Chiel roared. You and I are really fated. Unscrupulous monk shouted again. Fated my ass. Chiel vomited another mouthful of blood, turned into his human form, and ran to the side to heal. Me-haired, little girl, you and I are fated. Unscrupulous monk stared at Bubbles again and walked toward Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming directly kicked unscrupulous monk's face. Lu Ming, you're too ruthless. I'm injured and you still attacked me. I'll recuperate first. Unscrupulous monk smiled and retreated to the side to heal. Next, Tianming, Bao De. The white-haired old man announced. Everyone's eyes lit up. Even Lu Ming was the same. Tianming was going to fight Bao De. Everyone was curious about what kind of ability Tianming would use in this battle. Previously, Tianming had defeated his opponent without even taking a single step. But now, could he do the same against Bao De? Bao De was a primordial physique cultivator. He was extremely powerful and definitely not weaker than Chiel and Wu Liang. It would not be easy to defeat Bao De. Boom! Bao De landed heavily on the fighting ring. His dark skin was flowing with black light, full of power. He was 3 meters tall, like an iron tower. Tianming, come on, let's fight. I want to see how you can control my fate with the law of destiny. Bao De shouted, his voice rumbling like thunder. Your fate is sealed. You will lose. Tianming stepped down from the sky, his white robe fluttering. He landed on the fighting ring like an immortal. Whether I lose or not is not up to you to decide. Show me your strength. Bao De shouted, then took a step forward and rushed toward Tianming like a primordial beast. You are destined to be struck by lightning. Tianming said with a gentle smile on his face. As soon as he finished speaking, countless lightning bolts appeared out of thin air and struck toward Bao De. Bao De did not care, allowing the lightning to strike his body. He rushed through it, unharmed. The lightning could not break through his defense at all. Is that all you have? Are you trying to scratch my itch? Bao De grinned and did not stop. He charged toward Tianming and punched out. The void shook as a fist force blasted toward Tianming. It is destined that you can't hit me. Tianming said. Chapter 21-25. Everyone was shocked. The law of destiny was too invincible. He said that he was fated not to be hit, but his opponent really couldn't hit him. How was he supposed to fight then? Bao De's attack isn't strong enough. If it was, he could have broken through the law of destiny. An expert spoke up to clear everyone's doubts. You're fated to be burned by fire. You're fated to be cut down. Tianming continued to speak, his speed extremely fast. Then, all kinds of attacks fell from the sky, blasting toward Baoda. Boom! Boom! Baoda waved his fist, instantly dispersing the attacks. I've been burning my body with fire and refining it with lightning since I was young. Your attacks can only scratch an itch for me. Baoda's battle intent grew stronger and stronger. He broke through the layers of attacks and quickly approached Tianming. His muscles wriggled and his bones cracked as he punched with all his might. The power of this punch was even more shocking and powerful than before. At this moment, Tianming's expression finally turned serious. He stretched out a finger and pointed forward. Destiny says, absolute defense. A white wall of light appeared in front of him. Baoda's fist struck the wall of light, causing a terrifying explosion that caused the entire platform to shake. Huh, you finally made your move. It seems like your strength is only a so-so. Baoda laughed, then waved his fist, causing the wall of light in front of Tianming to shake continuously. Baoda, you're fated to be injured. Tianming spoke again. His body emitted a bright light as he stretched out his finger. Roar! At this moment, Baoda roared. He seemed to have been hit by an invisible and terrifying attack. His body shook and he took a few steps back, blood flowing from his mouth. Everyone was shocked. They didn't see anything attacking Baoda at all. They only knew that Baoda was going to be injured, and he was injured. This kind of method was too shocking and unbelievable. Your attack power is limited. If you have the ability, just kill me directly. Let's see if you can do it. Baoda roared and charged toward Tianming again. His body swelled up, and his originally burly body became even more shocking. He was like a giant born into the world. Boom! Baoda stomped heavily on the platform, and like a black lightning, he pressed down on Tianming like a demonic mountain. You're fated to be injured, Tianming spoke again, unleashing a series of profound attacks. Break! Break! Break all techniques with one force. Baoda roared as he punched out with both his fists. The void was pierced through, and Tianming's attacks were all destroyed by Baoda. Baoda's strength is terrifying. His strength is slightly above Wu Liang and Xia Ku's. A natural primordial body cultivator. If such a person were to cultivate in the nomological system, he would be trash. However, if he were to cultivate in the primordial body cultivation, he would be an incomparably rare genius. Experts spoke one after another, all shocked by Baoda's strength. Tianming's expression was a little grave, but it was only a little. Great fate. He spoke softly, and the light on his body became even brighter. Boom! With a wave of his hand, a divine light slashed toward Baoda. Dong! Dong! Baoda continued to swing his fists, bombarding the divine light. However, the divine light was indestructible and unshakable. With every punch, Baoda had to retreat a little. After dozens of punches, Baoda had retreated dozens of miles and was out of the fighting ring. At that moment, the divine light dissipated. Damn it, I haven't fought enough. Let's fight again. Baoda roared like a berserk beast. Then, his body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. You've lost. Tianming regained his indifferent expression and turned to leave. What strength? It's hard to estimate. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and looked at Tianming. Tianming gave off an unfathomable feeling. Although Baoda had forced out a part of Tianming's strength, no one knew if that was Tianming's final strength or if he was still hiding it. Not only Lu Ming, but the other geniuses, such as Yuan Xian, Xia Ku, and Yun Haoge, all had grave expressions. Tianming's strength gave them a lot of pressure. I really want to fight with you. I'll prove to everyone who's the strongest in the world. Yuan Xian whispered, his battle intent surging. How am I supposed to fight with this freak? Wu Liang had a bitter face. Alright, the first round of the competition is over. Lu Ming, Bubbles, Wu Liang, Yuan Xian, and Tianming win, each gaining 1 point. Next, the second round, Lu Ming against Bubbles. The old man announced. Huh. Lu Ming and Bubbles were stunned. They met so quickly, that old man did it on purpose, right? I admit defeat. I won't fight with big brother Lu Ming. I admit defeat. Bubbles hung on Lu Ming's neck and refused to come down. The spectators were calm and were not too surprised. They had long known that it was impossible for Lu Ming and Bubbles to fight. One of them would definitely admit defeat. Alright, Lu Ming wins this round. Next, Yun Haoge against Yuan Xian. The white-haired old man announced again. Yun Haoge against Yuan Xian. This was also a pinnacle battle, and the battle was incomparably intense. But in the end, Yuan Xian used 2 types of laws and fused them, defeating Yun Haoge in one fell swoop. This shocked everyone and made them re-evaluate Yuan Xian's combat strength. Yuan Xian had actually comprehended a second type of law, and it was a type of King Dao law. With the fusion of 2 types, his strength had increased exponentially. This made everyone marvel at Yuan Xian's talent. He had only become an emperor not long ago, and he had already comprehended a second type of law. Moreover, his mastery was not low. The third round of the second round, Xiaofan against Heng Xinghe. This was a battle without any suspense. Heng Xinghe was crushed and lost 2 rounds in a row. The fourth round, Ancient Devil against Baoda. Both of them cultivated the ancient cultivation system. Unfortunately, Ancient Devil's cultivation was slightly weaker and was not Baoda's opponent. He was easily defeated by Baoda. The fifth round, Tianming against Monk Wu Liang. Monk Wu Liang was very straightforward. He did not even go on stage and directly admitted defeat. In his words, he was stupid to fight even though he knew he could not win. The second round of the competition ended. Only Lu Ming, Tianming, and Yuan Xian were still in a winning streak. After 10 rounds of battle, everyone had already begun to predict the rankings of the 10 people. Without a doubt, Tianming is the strongest. He will be the champion this time. It's hard to say. Yuan Xian is not weak either. What he has shown now might not be his full strength. Perhaps he can compete with Tianming. From the looks of it, the first 2 should be Tianming and Yuan Xian. The third is very likely to be Baoda, but it's not certain. In general, the top 5 should be Tianming, Yuan Xian, Baoda, Wu Liang, and Xiaofan. Everyone made their own guesses, but most people believed that it should not be a problem for Tianming, Yuan Xian, Baoda, Wu Liang, and Xiaofan to get into the top 5. What about Lu Ming? He's not weak either. He has mastered 2 types of ultimate laws. He's not weak. He has no problem suppressing Heng Xinghe and Ancient Devil. However, compared to Yun Haoge and Bubble, his strength is probably inferior. I estimate that Lu Ming's final ranking should be 7th. Chapter 21-26. As the crowd discussed, the third round began. Lu Ming's luck seemed to be pretty good. His first match was against the Ancient Devil. As expected, the Ancient Devil was very strong, but he was no match for Lu Ming. He was defeated by Lu Ming. This was the second time the Ancient Devil had been defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming won 3 consecutive matches. Lu Ming's winning streak will probably end here. The next opponents he will face will not be weak. They will all be stronger than him. That's right. He won 3 matches in a row. I estimate that he will lose 6 matches in a row. Some people discussed, thinking that Lu Ming's winning streak would end here. The second match of the third round was between Bubble and Cheel. This was an intense battle, a battle at the pinnacle. Although Bubble's cultivation was slightly weaker, after transforming into its original form, its strength had increased exponentially. Its control of spacetime had reached an unimaginable level. Cheel was strong, but he could not hit Bubble. Of course, it was not easy for Bubble to defeat Cheel. It could be said that it was very difficult. In the end, after more than 200 moves, Cheel was careless and was teleported out of the stage by Bubble. In this battle, Bubbles won an unexpected victory. This made the crowd re-evaluate Bubbles' strength. It also made them realize the strength of the top 10 battle beasts. In a battle of the same level, the Elysian Child was not as strong as the top 10 battle beasts. Next was Yuan Xian's match against Heng Xinghe. Needless to say, Heng Xinghe was defeated again. This made his expression turn uglier and uglier. Some people were already certain that Heng Xinghe would be ranked 10th. There was no suspense. The fourth match was between Wuliang and Baoda. This was another peak battle. Wuliang used Buddha's golden body in various Buddha's abilities, but Baoda broke through everything. The two of them exchanged hundreds of moves. Wuliang shouted, but it was useless this time. He could not defeat Baoda and was finally defeated and blasted out of the stage. Baoda won this match. The last match of the third round was between Tianming and Yunhauge. I can see my own fate in the river of time. Yunhauge roared and fought Tianming with the spacetime law. The spacetime law did have some restraining effect on the fate law. This was because he could peek into his own fate through the river of time. Of course, fate was constantly changing. What he saw was only the tip of the iceberg. Later on, Tianming used the greater fate art to sever Yunhauge's river of time and defeat him. At the end of the third round, Lu Ming, Tianming, and Yuan Xian won 3 consecutive victories. However, everyone thought that Lu Ming was just lucky in the first 3 rounds. He would lose consecutively in the later rounds. As for Heaven's Will and Yuanxin, they were obtained through fighting. After a few rounds, the white-haired elder allowed everyone to rest for half a day. Half a day later, the fourth round began. In the first match of the fourth round, Lu Ming was still the first to fight, but this time, his opponent was Yunhauge. Yunhauge looked excited. The two of them stepped onto the Colosseum. Lu Ming, your good luck has come to an end. You will suffer a crushing defeat in this round. I will make you understand that the spacetime spirit mouse is not something you can possess. Yunhauge said coldly. Your spacetime law is too weak. You are no match for me. Admit defeat, lest I attack you. Lu Ming was very direct. He told Yunhauge to admit defeat. This stunned everyone. They thought that Lu Ming was boasting too much. Although Lu Ming had mastered 2 supreme laws, which could be said to be unprecedented, he was only a quasi-emperor after all. How could he be a match for Yunhauge? Yunhauge's cultivation had already reached the 2-star Void Emperor level. Moreover, even if they fought at the same level, he was still one of the best among the Elysian children. With such a huge difference in cultivation, how could Lu Ming be a match for him? You want me to admit defeat? What a joke. I will teach you a lesson. Yunhauge said sinisterly. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed towards Lu Ming. He shuttled through the void at an astonishing speed. In the process of Yunhauge dashing out, the void in all directions was distorted. A terrifying force suppressed Lu Ming's body. This force contained the power of time. It contained time deceleration, causing Lu Ming's speed to become as slow as a tortoise's. There was also the power of space. The space around Lu Ming continued to press down on Lu Ming, trying to bind him. On the contrary, Yunhauge's speed skyrocketed under the support of the spacetime law. In an instant, he was close to Lu Ming. He pointed a finger, and the power of space condensed. It contained a terrifying tearing force and charged towards Lu Ming. In the face of such a situation, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. Boom! He struggled with all his might. His physical body and saint power erupted. The void shook, and the power of space that acted on him continued to explode. Then, a long river of two-colored laws appeared. This was the fusion of the chaos law and the death law. Boom! Lu Ming's arms shook, and he struck out with his palm. The void exploded, and the space-time law that acted on him was directly cut open. Lu Ming's palm blasted towards Yunhauge. But Yunhauge moved, and his body disappeared in an instant. He appeared behind Lu Ming and blasted towards Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming seemed to have eyes behind him. He struck out with his palm and collided with Yunhauge's palm. Yunhauge's body floated back. Then, his body trembled, and a dense crowd of figures appeared from all directions. So many figures charged towards Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. This was a terrifying killing move. Don't think that the dense crowd of figures were all illusions. In fact, these figures were all real. They were all Yunhauge's true body. He was shuttling through the void, walking in different spaces. This move was a move that he used in different spaces. Chaos Calamity Finger. In the face of this move, Lu Ming used the Chaos Calamity Finger. He reached out with both hands and pointed continuously. Whoosh! 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 Finger force burst forth, and each finger force pointed at a figure. Those figures exploded one by one, and finally turned into a figure. Then, Yunhauge and Lu Ming exchanged dozens of blows, and the various mysteries of the spacetime law were displayed incisively and vividly. However, his control of spacetime was still not as good as Bubbles. Lu Ming protected himself with two types of laws. He stood firm and broke all of Yunhauge's attacks. Yunhauge finally lost his patience. I'll use my cultivation to suppress you. Yunhauge's eyes were cold, and his two-star Void Emperor cultivation completely erupted. He charged towards Lu Ming. Wherever he passed, a spacetime storm flooded towards Lu Ming. A head-on clash? That's exactly what I want. Lu Ming smiled and stood there without moving. When Yunhauge was about to reach him, a long river of laws appeared on Lu Ming's body again. It was the long river of laws of formations. The long river of laws of formations fused with the chaos law and death law, causing the long river of laws around Lu Ming to turn into three colors. After fusing with another type of law of monarch, Lu Ming's battle strength increased greatly. Boom! He blasted out a palm, and the palm force was like an avalanche, blasting towards Yunhauge. Chapter 21-27. As soon as Yunhauge retreated, Lu Ming followed. His speed was astonishing as he approached Yunhauge. Boom! 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 Lu Ming instantly struck out hundreds of palms. The void exploded as hundreds of palm prints completely enveloped Yunhauge in all directions, disrupting spacetime. At this moment, Yunhauge could not even escape using the law of spacetime. He could only take Lu Ming's palm force head-on. He roared angrily, activating the law of spacetime and erupting with the power of the world to fight Lu Ming head-on. After hundreds of consecutive palms, Yunhauge's body shook violently as if he had been electrocuted. The law of spacetime that covered his body was shattered. His arms directly exploded, unable to withstand Lu Ming's palm force. Smack! In the end, Lu Ming slapped Yunhauge's face, knocking him to the ground and twitching there. Bam! Then, Lu Ming kicked Yunhauge's face, sending him flying out of the fighting ring. You want to torture me? You're not even close. Lu Ming said lightly. Yunhauge fell off the fighting ring, his face swollen like a pig's head. He only woke up after a long time. When he realized his situation, he was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. This time, he had embarrassed himself greatly. Big brother Lu Ming, well done, well done. Bubbles clapped her little hands in celebration. Many people looked at Lu Ming in a different light. Lu Ming was able to defeat Yun Haoge, which was beyond many people's expectations. Yes, he has also mastered the law of array Dao. I didn't expect him to have cultivated 3 types of laws to perfection and even fused them together. He is indeed talented. He has cultivated 3 types of laws before becoming an emperor. It's rare. No wonder he has such strong combat strength. Every time a law was fused, its power would increase exponentially. Even many low-level void emperors would find it difficult to fuse 3 types of laws. Putting aside the fact that Lu Ming had mastered 2 supreme nomological laws, even if he had only mastered 3 ordinary nomological laws, his talent was still astonishing. Previously, everyone had thought that Lu Ming would only be able to get 7th place, unable to compete with Wu Liang, Xia Ku, and Bao De. But now, they had changed their minds. Being able to defeat Yun Haoge showed that Lu Ming's strength was already at the level of Wu Liang, Xia Ku, Bao De, and Bubble. He was qualified to compete for the top 5. Even though he had not become a martial emperor yet, he already had such achievements. It was truly shocking. Just like that, Lu Ming obtained 4 consecutive victories. The second match of the 4th round was between Bubbles and Heartless Monk. My hair is rice, little one, you and I are really fated. On the fighting ring, Unscrupulous Monk looked at Bubbles seriously and almost drooled. This was one of the top 10 beasts. Unscrupulous Monk's heart burned with passion. Monk, it seems like you're looking for a beating. Bubbles couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Unscrupulous Monk because this was what Lu Ming had taught her. If she saw Unscrupulous Monk, just attack. Little one, you and I are really fated. Unscrupulous Monk shouted. He didn't hold back and was covered in Buddhist light. Those who didn't know Unscrupulous Monk would really be deceived by his appearance and think that he was an enlightened monk. Bubbles didn't dare to be careless. She directly transformed into her true form and rode on space-time. The space-time spirit mouse's combat strength was strong, and its control of space-time was far above Yun Haoge's. This battle was extremely strange because Unscrupulous Monk couldn't hit Bubbles at all. No matter how he used the Buddhist kingdom in a palm, Buddhist lion's roar, Buddhist palm imprint, and other magical techniques, he couldn't do anything to Bubbles. Instead, he was sometimes caught off guard by Bubbles' sneak attacks. In the end, he was sent flying out of the fighting ring by Bubbles. Monk, you're thick-skinned. Bubbles curled her lips. Bubbles could only send Unscrupulous Monk flying out of the fighting ring because Unscrupulous Monk's Buddhist golden body was indeed incomparably strong. Bubbles couldn't break it. Of course, if Bubbles' cultivation improved and was on the same level as Unscrupulous Monk, it would be a different story. The third match of the 4th round was between Yuan Xian and Xia Ku. This was another pinnacle battle between the Son of Chaos and the primordial path of monsters. Xia Ku transformed into a 1,000-meter-long purple-gold true dragon. His entire body flowed with purple light. His dragon claws tore through the void and he used the demon race's magical techniques to fight against Yuan Xian. However, although Xia Ku was very strong, he was still a little weaker than Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian unleashed 2 types of laws and defeated Xia Ku. Next, there was no suspense between Tianming and Xinghe. Xinghe directly admitted defeat. And the 5th match was between Bao De and Ancient Devil. There was no doubt that Bao De won. The 4th round ended, and not long after, the 5th round began. The first match of the 5th round was between Lu Ming and Xia Ku. Xia Ku's eyes were solemn. The strength that Lu Ming had displayed before was enough to threaten him. Therefore, Xia Ku used all his strength as soon as he attacked. He transformed into a purple gold true dragon and pounced towards Lu Ming. Roar! Lu Ming's body glowed and a shocking dragon roar came out from it, causing Xiaoku's body to tremble and his face to change drastically. 9 dragons, Xiaoku's face was a little ugly. In a battle between experts, milliseconds were crucial. Xiaoku was slightly stunned. Lu Ming had already rushed over and unleashed the law of chaos, the law of death, and the law of array Dao. The 3 types of laws combined and unleashed a storm of attacks, suppressing Xiaoku. Xiaoku barely resisted dozens of moves and was blasted out of the fighting ring by Lu Ming. Lu Ming won. This made many people reevaluate Lu Ming's combat strength once again. They thought that he already had the strength to compete for the top 3. Lu Ming may be able to compete with Bao De, but compared to Yuan Xian and Tian Ming, he's still a little weaker. Yes, if nothing unexpected happens, he should be hovering between 3rd and 4th place. Some people discussed and re-inferred the rankings. The first match of the 5th round ended. The second match was between Bubble and Yuan Xian. This battle was very intense. Bubble transformed into his original body and used the law of time to the extreme, changing unpredictably. However, Yuan Xian's strength was indeed powerful. Just like Lu Ming's previous battle with Yun Haoge, he used his powerful strength to break through the law of time. In this battle, Bubble did not win in the end. After many moves, seeing that he was at a disadvantage, he simply admitted defeat. The third match was between Wuliang and Elder Mo. Wuliang won. After that, Tianming and Bao De won respectively. Entering the 6th round, the atmosphere became heated in the first match. Because the first match was between Lu Ming and Bao De. In the eyes of most people, Lu Ming and Bao De were now at the same level and were strong candidates to compete for 3rd place. In this match, whoever won would be able to get 3rd place. Lu Ming, you're amazing. You haven't become an emperor yet, but you have such combat strength. I, Old Bao, admire you. But this match, the winner will definitely be me. Bao De grinned, his eyes revealing a fierce light like a big black bear. Big guy, don't be so sure. Lu Ming smiled slightly. Then let me see just how strong the fusion of 2 supreme laws of nature is. Bao De revealed a ferocious look. He took a step forward, and his whole body was like a mountain, crashing toward Lu Ming. Chapter 21-28. The fist force whistled and the space trembled. This was pure strength. The strength of the physical body was extremely powerful and shocking. Primordial body cultivator, I want to see how powerful your physical body is. Lu Ming did not evade. He erupted with 3 types of laws and used the chaotic divine palm. Dong! The palm and fist collided, and there was an earth-shattering roar. The space where the fist and palm collided was like a ripple of water, constantly shaking. Lu Ming and Bao De's bodies shook at the same time, and they both took a few steps back. What a terrifying strength! Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Bao De relied purely on his physical strength. It was simply terrifying. That punch had shaken Lu Ming's 3 types of laws and almost pierced through them. Lu Ming's physical body had refined 3 streaks of chaotic qi and had been tempered by 5 types of laws. It was already extremely powerful, but compared to Bao De, it was still a far cry. It was said that during the primordial age of the heaven realm, there was a primordial body cultivator who had an invincible physical body. He could cross the sky, stand on the ground, and explode the stars in the sky with a single punch. He was unbelievably powerful. When the physical body was cultivated to the extreme, it would be indestructible and immortal, existing with the heavens and earth. Again. Bao De roared, and like a wild beast, he charged at Lu Ming. His muscles bulged, and his body swelled again. Come! Lu Ming shouted. 3 types of laws surrounded him, and he erupted his physical strength and saint power to the extreme to fight Baoda. Dong! 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 The two of them were like two wild beasts, constantly colliding in the fighting ring. There was no technique, just pure head-on confrontation. Baoda was a primordial body cultivator. His physical strength was boundless and indestructible. Even an ordinary imperial weapon would be destroyed by Baoda's punch. As for Lu Ming, his physical body was also very strong, and his saint power was condensed and thick. Most importantly, the chaotic law was originally as heavy as a mountain, suppressing the world. With the support of the chaotic law, Lu Ming's strength was also boundless. The two of them had similar styles, and they constantly collided with each other, causing the fighting ring to rumble. If they were fighting outside, it would definitely be a scene of mountains collapsing and the earth cracking. How terrifying! Seeing the two of them fighting, many people's faces turned pale. It was too ferocious. Under such power, any technique was superfluous. Even ultimate laws would be torn. Even if a two-star Void Emperor were, he would be easily. The two of them fought continuously. Great! Lu Ming let out a long howl. After an intense confrontation, he had become increasingly proficient in the application of several laws, especially the law of chaos. The law of primal chaos and the law of forming a river were already perfect at this stage. But the fog had finally dispersed. Baoda also laughed, and his attacks became more and more violent. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had fought over 100 rounds. At this point, the more Lu Ming fought, the braver he became. Finally, he began to gain the upper hand and Baoda began to defend himself. Bam! Baoda began to retreat. Every step he took caused the fighting ring to rumble violently. Stop, I'm not fighting anymore, I'm not fighting anymore. At this moment, Baoda suddenly shouted. Lu Ming retreated. Baoda gasped for breath. He was sweating profusely. It took him a long time to recover. You pervert, I'll admit defeat today. Let's fight another day. Baoda said. Okay, sure. Lu Ming nodded. It was beneficial for him to have a powerful opponent to fight against. Baoda leaped and rushed down the fighting ring. Lu Ming won. Many people widened their eyes. Lu Ming defeated Baoda. It seemed that he would be in the top 3. This was beyond many people's expectations. Previously, they thought that Lu Ming would be good enough to be in the 7th place. Now, the ranking can be seen. Many people began to infer the ranking based on the previous battle results. Everyone thought that the 1st and 2nd place should be between Tian Ming and Yuan Xian. Lu Ming was 3rd, Baoda was 4th, and Bubbles was 5th. That was the situation for the top 5. Now, everyone was looking forward to the highlight. That was Tian Ming versus Yuan Xian. As long as the two of them could defeat each other, the top 10 rankings would be set. Humph, don't underestimate my master. Maybe my master can defeat Yuan Xian and Tian Ming. Lu Xiang pouted when she heard that the people around her thought that Lu Ming could only be in the 3rd place. Huh, little girl, you're really blindly confident. Your master is strong, but it's impossible for him to compete with Tian Ming and Yuan Xian. He's definitely no match for them. We can understand the little girl's confidence in her master, but you have to see the reality. Several gray-haired old men reminded Lu Xiang kindly. Humph, your eyes are not right at all. Previously, you said that my master could only be in the 7th place. Lu Xiang pursed her lips. We were wrong before, but this time, there's no mistake. Several old men were sure. Lu Xiang pouted, too lazy to pay attention to these old men. The competition continued. Bubble fought Tian Ming. Bubble directly admitted defeat. He was too lazy to compete since he couldn't win anyway. Then, Xia Ku defeated Yun Haoge, Yuan Xian defeated Wu Liang, and the ancient demon defeated Heng Xinghe. In this way, Heng Xinghe was already in the last place. He was even inferior to the ancient demon. In general, in this round, except for Lu Ming unexpectedly defeating Bao De, the other matches were expected by everyone. The 6th round ended, and the 7th round began. Tian Ming vs Yuan Xian. The gray-haired old man said. As soon as the voice came out, the scene fell silent, and then there was an uproar. The highlight of the show had arrived. The biggest highlight of the show had arrived. Tian Ming vs Yuan Xian. This seemed to be deliberately arranged by the gray-haired old man. In the previous rounds, Lu Ming fought in the first round. Now, the first match of the 7th round was between Tian Ming and Yuan Xian. The atmosphere was suddenly ignited. Countless people revealed looks of anticipation. In the eyes of the crowd, this was a battle between the two strongest geniuses of the primordial realm. Tian Ming and Yuan Xian also exuded a strong fighting spirit. Their gazes collided across the air. Although both of them came from the Divine Fate Land and were known as the peerless geniuses of the Divine Fate Land, they had never fought before. Lu Ming's eyes also revealed a look of anticipation. He had a feeling that Tian Ming and Yuan Xian had not used their full strength in the previous battle. This battle was enough to show how strong the two of them were. Whoosh! Whoosh! Their figures flashed, and the two rushed directly to the battle stage. Boom! Terrifying auras collided across the air, and a violent explosion erupted. Chapter 21-29. I'll defeat you in this battle and break the legend of destiny. Yuan Xian said, full of confidence in himself. Destiny cannot be broken. Everything in the world has its own destiny. Even the birth and destruction of a world has its own destiny. Therefore, the law of primal chaos is also shrouded by destiny. Tian Ming said. His white robe was purer than snow. You can't control my destiny. My destiny is in my hands, not the heavens. It's not up to you. Die. Yuan Xian exploded. His figure was like a phantom as he charged at Tian Ming. The law of primal chaos spread out as he punched out with his primal chaos divine fist. You're destined to be struck by lightning. Tian Ming spoke again, as if his words were law. As he spoke, all kinds of lightning, flames, ice, poison, and swords blasted toward Yuan Xian. Boom! Boom! Yuan Xian waved his fist, and all the lightning and flames were destroyed. Tian Ming, you don't have to test me. Show me your true strength. Yuan Xian took a big step forward and attacked Tian Ming. The aura of two laws spread out from his body. The two laws fused as he punched out. Boom! The fist force crushed forward, stronger than Bao De's. Great destiny art. Tian Ming stopped probing and used the law of destiny's theurgy. He reached out a finger and pointed forward. A streak of light erupted like a streak of light, but also like a divine blade as it blasted towards Yuan Xian. Boom! Yuan Xian's fist force was defeated, and the light of destiny continued to blast toward Yuan Xian. Break! Yuan Xian's fists were constantly waving, and in an instant, he punched hundreds of times, smashing the space into pieces. The light of destiny was blocked, and in the end, it was defeated. He blocked it. Yuan Xian is indeed powerful. Someone exclaimed. Previously, when Tian Ming used the great destiny art, no one could block it. Even someone as strong as Bao De couldn't block it. But now, Yuan Xian blocked Tian Ming's light of destiny. Perhaps, Yuan Xian could really fight against Tian Ming. Kill. After Yuan Xian defeated the light of destiny, he took the opportunity to attack Tian Ming. No one can block the light of destiny. Your fate is sealed in this battle with me. You will lose. Tianming said softly as he pointed his finger. In an instant, dozens of light of destiny burst out. These rays of light took on different shapes. Some were in the shape of swords, some were in the shape of sabers, and some were in the shape of spears. They transformed into all kinds of weapons and shot towards Yuan Xian. The power of each strike was shockingly strong. Yuan Xian waved his fists, trying his best to defend himself. However, there were too many beams of destiny light. Each beam contained boundless power. Yuan Xian was suppressed, retreating repeatedly. Yuan Xian is about to lose. The laws of fate are truly invincible. Some people sighed softly. If even Yuan Xian was no match for him, then who else could be a match for Tianming? No, Yuan Xian can still fight. He's about to erupt. Someone shouted. Boom! At this moment, Yuan Xian's aura skyrocketed once again. His cultivation was still at the peak of the two-star illusionary emperor realm. However, his aura had increased tremendously. Chaotic divine body. Yuan Xian roared. Boundless primal chaos law gathered towards Yuan Xian. His body started to change. It turned gray, as if his physical body had turned into a primal chaos stone. Yes, the chaos stones. When Lu Ming used the chaotic divine palm, his palm would turn gray, like a primal chaos stone. Now, Yuan Xian's body had turned into such a state. This was a terrifying secret technique. Boom! Boom! Yuan Xian's body seemed to have really turned into a primal chaos stone. It was indestructible. He punched out continuously, destroying all the beams of destiny light. For the first time, a trace of seriousness appeared in Tianming's eyes. His body shone brightly as he constantly pointed his finger. Beams of destiny light shot out continuously, blasting towards Yuan Xian. However, Yuan Xian's chaotic divine body had increased his combat strength. Each of his punches was able to destroy a beam of destiny light. Yuan Xian was rapidly approaching Tianming. Everyone was shocked. Was Yuan Xian really going to change his destiny and defeat Tianming today? In front of everyone's shocked eyes, Yuan Xian approached Tianming and punched out, piercing through Tianming's chest. However, Tianming's body was like an illusion. It was illusory and nothing happened to him. Destiny has determined that I won't be defeated. No matter what you do, it's useless. River of Destiny, come out. Tianming said. Then, a large river appeared under his feet. This wasn't a river formed by perfecting the laws, but the legendary River of Destiny. The fate of all things in the world was in the River of Destiny. Everyone's fate was already determined. Tianming stood in the River of Destiny as if he was the ruler of the world. Boom! Boom! Yuan Xian kept punching out, trying to break through the River of Destiny. However, his punches were like stones sinking into the sea. All things in the world are in the River of Destiny. Yuan Xian, you're not an exception. Tianming said. Then, he stretched out a hand and grabbed at the River of Destiny, pulling out a figure. Everyone was shocked because the figure that Tianming pulled out of the River of Destiny was exactly the same as Yuan Xian. However, they could tell that it was just an illusion. You're destined to be defeated. Tianming said softly and pointed a finger. A ray of light shot out and bombarded the illusory figure. A large hole appeared in the figure's chest. At that moment, Yuan Xian's body trembled as if he had suffered a terrifying attack. He tried his best to resist, but in the end, he retreated more than 10 steps. Everyone saw that a bloody hole had appeared in his chest and blood was flowing out. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. The laws of destiny were too strange. Tianming had only pulled out a figure that looked exactly like Yuan Xian from the River of Destiny. Yet, Yuan Xian was injured when he attacked the illusory figure. Those who defy destiny will be punished, Tianming said and pointed another finger. The illusory figure was penetrated again. Yuan Xian's body trembled violently as he retreated. Another wound appeared on his body. The scene was silent. It was too strange. Moreover, Tianming was too strong. Who could fight against such strength? Tianming continued to attack. Each time he attacked, Yuan Xian would have to retreat and a wound would appear on his body. In the end, Yuan Xian vomited blood and was heavily injured. Alright, this battle ends here. Yuan Xian, you've lost. At that moment, the white-haired old man stood out and stopped the battle. He was afraid that Yuan Xian's injuries would affect the battle later. Yuan Xian was somewhat unwilling. In the end, he gritted his teeth and left the battle stage. He knew that he had lost. He wasn't Tianming's match and couldn't be the strongest in the world. I'm not strong enough. I need to be stronger. The legendary primal chaos scripture recorded all kinds of terrifying abilities that use the laws of chaos as the foundation. I must obtain them. Yuan Xian was unwilling. He looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent. Chapter 2130. Tianming is number 1 in the world, no one can match him. The rankings are almost clear. Tianming is first, Yuan Xian is second. It's a pity that Lu Ming is still a quasi-emperor. If he becomes an emperor, he might be able to compete with Tianming. How can there be so many ifs? Tianming is one step ahead and will only be stronger in the future. Lu Ming will probably never be Tianming's opponent. Everyone discussed. In the end, someone who was hostile to Lu Ming spoke, deliberately belittling Lu Ming, causing Xiang, Bubbles, and the others to glare at him. After the 7th round, Tianming and Yuan Xian's battle, the following battles were not too surprising. Those who were predicted to win all won. Lu Ming also won. In this battle, he fought Wuliang. Wuliang dawdled for a long time. After exchanging a few moves with Lu Ming, he directly admitted defeat. Lu Ming, you freak. I thought I could suppress you after so many years, but I didn't expect that I'm still not your opponent. Wuliang said with a bitter face. Hey, how can you say that? What freak? This is my talent, do you understand? Lu Ming glanced at Wuliang from the corner of his eyes. My hair. Wuliang stopped talking and retreated to the side. After the 7th round ended, the white-haired old man let everyone rest for 3 days and continue the battle 3 days later. This was because some people were injured and their battle strength was affected, such as Yuan Xian. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Everyone recovered to their peak state. Lu Ming against Yuan Xian. At the beginning of the 8th round, the white-haired old man announced the most important battle. To be honest, everyone was looking forward to this battle. This was because it was a battle between 2 sons of chaos, and also a battle for the 2nd and 3rd place. Most people thought that Lu Ming would not be Yuan Xian's opponent because the strength Yuan Xian had displayed was too shocking. But after all, it was a battle between 2 sons of chaos, a rare sight. Yuan Xian's eyes were filled with a fiery light. He stepped out and stepped onto the battle stage. Lu Ming also stepped onto the battle stage. Lu Ming, this time, I will make you lose miserably. Yuan Xian stared coldly at Lu Ming. I'm sorry, but I have to tell you something. No one has ever been able to surpass me after being defeated by me, not even you. Lu Ming smiled faintly. What? Everyone was stunned. What did Lu Ming mean by this? Could it be that Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xian before? How was this possible? Soon, news spread that Lu Ming and Yuan Xian had fought during the Primal Chaos Sex assessment, and Yuan Xian had been defeated. Everyone was astonished. There was actually such a thing? It seemed like the two sons of chaos already had a grudge against each other. Back then, I was only suppressed. If I wasn't suppressed, I would have suppressed you with a flip of my hand. Yuan Xian's expression was cold as he continued, Lu Ming, hand over the Primal Chaos scripture. You are not qualified to wield it. I'm not qualified, but you are. Lu Ming sneered and said, You want the Primal Chaos scripture? Sure, why don't we make a bet? Bet on what? Yuan Xian said coldly. Let's bet on this battle. If I lose this battle, I'll give you the Primal Chaos scripture. If you lose, you'll listen to me for the rest of your life. How about that? Lu Ming said. I won't bet with you. Yuan Xian said coldly. You don't dare? Are you afraid of losing? Lu Ming said. I won't lose. I want the Primal Chaos scripture. I'll defeat you and take it from you. Yuan Xian was very confident. After saying that, he did not say anything else and stepped towards Lu Ming. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from his body, and the law of chaos spread out. At the same time, there was another law. It was a kind of law of the king. Although it was not very mature, it still increased Yuan Xian's combat strength by a lot. Primal Chaos Divine Fist. Yuan Xian made his move. He punched continuously, and the void rumbled. Every time he punched out, a mountain would form and suppress Lu Ming. These mountains were evolved from the law of chaos, and they were extremely powerful. Boom! Lu Ming also made his move. 3 kinds of laws erupted, and he rushed up and used the Primal Chaos Divine Palm, striking out a few times in a row. Bang! Bang! Every palm strike was capable of shattering a mountain. Mountains formed from the law of Primal Chaos exploded in the air. Primal Chaos Finger. After shattering a few mountains in a row, Lu Ming used the Primal Chaos Finger again. A huge Primal Chaos Finger formed and crushed towards Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian threw a few punches and defeated the Primal Chaos Finger. However, at this time, Lu Ming had already arrived. He continuously struck out with the Primal Chaos Divine Palm, and in an instant, he had struck out hundreds of times. Yuan Xian threw a punch and fought with Lu Ming. The two figures fought fiercely, and for a moment, it was difficult to determine the winner. The law of chaos permeated the entire fighting ring. Yuan Xian was very powerful. He was a 2-star Void Emperor. In terms of cultivation, he was much stronger than Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's physical body and saint power had been tempered 5 times. 5 times, he had 2 kinds of supreme laws, 3 kinds of law of kings, and 3 kinds of law of kings. This made up for the lack of cultivation. Lu Ming is really strong. He can actually compete with Yuan Xian. However, Yuan Xian still has a secret skill that he has not used. Lu Ming is destined to lose. Someone said, acknowledging Lu Ming's combat strength. However, they thought that Lu Ming would still lose. Yuan Xian, bring out your strongest battle strength. That's all, it's not enough. Lu Ming said in the midst of the battle. Since you want to see it, I'll crush you. Chaotic Divine Body. Yuan Xian roared, and the law of chaos boiled. His physical body seemed to have turned into a chaotic stone. After using this secret skill, Yuan Xian's combat strength increased greatly. He threw a punch and collided with Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming felt his arm go numb. He could not help but take 5 to 6 steps back. Bam! Bam! Yuan Xian took advantage of the situation and threw out punches. Lu Ming was forced to retreat. Lu Ming, you are no match for me. Hand over the chaos scripture. Yuan Xian shouted and attacked wildly. Why are you in such a hurry? It seems that 3 laws are still not enough to deal with you. Let's use 4 laws then. As he spoke, another law river appeared on Lu Ming's body and merged with the previous 3 laws. In the next moment, a 4-colored law river appeared on Lu Ming's body. With one more law, Lu Ming's combat strength increased greatly. He threw out a palm and collided with Yuan Xian's attack. Both of their bodies shook and retreated. However, Lu Ming took 2 steps back while Yuan Xian took 4 steps back. 4 laws. Lu Ming has comprehended 4 laws. Oh my God, it's the law of devour. 2 supreme laws and 2 monarch laws. It's really heaven-defying. This is too terrifying. Everyone was shocked. Some people exclaimed. It was mainly because it was too shocking. Previously, Lu Ming did not use his full strength and even held back. Not only did he control 2 supreme laws, but he also comprehended 2 other monarch laws. Moreover, he had reached perfection. How old was Lu Ming? How did he cultivate? Chapter 21-31. Master is invincible. Master will definitely win. Lu Xiangxiang and Ouyang Moli shouted excitedly. Luo Tianyi, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others were also stunned. Although they knew that Lu Ming was abnormal, they did not expect him to be this abnormal. My hair, you pervert. Do you want me to live? Heartless Monk's face became even more bitter. How is this possible? How is this possible? Those who had a grudge against Lu Ming, such as the Heng family, the He family, the Daluo Heaven sect, the Wan family, the Golden Crow clan, and other forces, were all shocked and frightened. The stronger Lu Ming was, the more frightened they were. Yuan Xian himself was also shocked. He had also comprehended the 2nd law, so he knew how difficult it was to comprehend other laws. It was even more difficult to merge them together. He had only succeeded in that world. However, Lu Ming had not only mastered 2 supreme laws, but also comprehended 2 other laws of the King Path. A total of 4 laws, and all of them had been perfected and merged together. This was unbelievable. Even with his wisdom, he was still shocked. So what if you have 4 laws? I will still defeat you. Yuan Xian let out a long howl, charging toward Lu Ming with an imposing aura. His body emitted a dark light as if it was made of chaotic stone. Bam! Lu Ming stepped forward and used the chaotic divine palm to fight with Yuan Xian. Bam! Bam! There was another shocking shock in the fighting ring. In an instant, the 2 of them had exchanged more than 50 blows. However, after Lu Ming burst out with 4 laws, his combat strength had surpassed Yuan Xian's. The more laws were fused, the stronger the power would be, multiplying the power. After more than 50 blows, Yuan Xian was completely at a disadvantage and was forced to retreat by Lu Ming. Yuan Xian was not willing to give up. He roared and fought with Lu Ming without fear of death. He could not lose. This time, it was different from the assessment in the Hunyuan sect. This time, it was a real showdown. They went all out without holding anything back. This was also a showdown between Sons of Chaos. If he lost to Lu Ming, he definitely wouldn't be able to obtain the Chaos Emperor's legacy. Furthermore, he would have to live under Lu Ming's shadow for the rest of his life. This was a fatal blow to his path of martial arts. Lu Ming, you can't break my chaotic divine body. I won't lose. Yuan Xian roared. You think too much. Lu Ming continuously waved his palms, repelling Yuan Xian, and then bombarding Yuan Xian's chest with a palm. Boom! Yuan Xian's body trembled violently as he retreated continuously. His face paled as he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Following that, Lu Ming continued to attack with his palms, striking out several hundred palms in an instant. Palm imprints enveloped Yuan Xian's entire body. Yuan Xian did his best to resist, but there were still palm imprints that landed on his body. Bang! Bang! Yuan Xian's body continued to tremble. In the end, cracks actually appeared on his body, as if it was about to split apart. He spat out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying and fell heavily on the fighting ring. Defeated. Yuan Xian was defeated. The entire place was silent. Before the battle, not many people had expected this result. Most people had always thought that Tian Ming was first, Yuan Xian was second, and Lu Ming was third at most. They thought that it was impossible for him to be a match for the two people in front of him. But now, Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xian. His next opponent was only Tian Ming. Master is invincible. Xiang shouted excitedly. She then looked at the few elders not far away and said, "I told you, my master is invincible. No one is a match for him." The few elders blushed. Previously, they had said that Xiang was blindly confident and told her to see the reality. Lu Ming was no match for Yuan Xian and Tian Ming. But now, it was Lu Ming who had defeated Yuan Xian. Even though the few elders had lived for many years, they couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Uncle Kong and martial monarch Wuxia smiled too. Lu Ming being able to come this far had far exceeded their expectations. "Do you still want to fight?" Lu Ming stepped forward and walked towards Yuan Xian. "I haven't lost. I won't lose to you." Yuan Xian howled madly. He was extremely indignant. He charged toward Lu Ming again. But he was already injured. How could he be a match for Lu Ming? After a few moves, he was sent flying again. His body was covered with cracks and blood was seeping out. With Lu Ming's current strength, a palm strike could shatter the void and destroy a 10,000 feet tall mountain. The power was shocking. It was already very shocking that Yuan Xian could survive after taking so many palm strikes. Yuan Xian roared and wanted to continue fighting. The white-haired elder stepped down and stopped him. "You have lost. Go down," the white-haired elder said. Yuan Xian finally stopped and looked at Lu Ming with unwillingness. His eyes flashed with cold killing intent. "After today's defeat, you will never be a match for me. Also, you don't deserve to control the primal chaos scripture." Lu Ming glanced at Yuan Xian indifferently and turned to leave. Yuan Xian's body trembled and he spat out another mouthful of blood. After that, the competition continued. But the rest of the competition was within everyone's expectations. There were no surprises. Everyone was looking forward to the last round. The 9th round was the last round. After this round, the 10 of them had fought the other 9. And in the 9th round, Lu Ming would fight against Tian Ming. Originally, everyone didn't have much expectations for this battle. They thought that there was no suspense and that Tian Ming would win. But after Lu Ming defeated Yuan Xian, everyone changed their minds. At least, Lu Ming had defeated Yuan Xian and was qualified to fight against Tian Ming. After the 8th round ended, there was a break. The 9th round was about to begin. In the last round, the white-haired elder seemed to have intentionally put the battle between Lu Ming and Tian Ming at the end. Everyone was itching, but they could only wait for the previous matches to end. There were no surprises in the previous matches. By the time the previous matches were over, the crowd already knew the rankings for this round. Except for the first and second place, the rest of the rankings were already confirmed. 3rd place, Yuan Xian. He had only lost to Lu Ming and Tian Ming. 4th place, Bao De. 5th place, Bubble. 6th place, heartless monk. 7th place, Xia Ku. 8th place, Yun Haoge. 9th place, ancient demon. 10th place, Xinghe. Xinghe had lost all 9 matches and didn't win a single one. His expression was extremely ugly. Especially when he saw the last battle between Lu Ming and Tian Ming, his expression became even gloomier. By now, Lu Ming had left him far behind. The last battle, Tian Ming versus Lu Ming. The white-haired elder finally announced the names of the two. Countless people's hearts were in their mouths. It was finally the last battle. This battle would determine who was the strongest genius of the younger generation of the Yuan realm. Would it be Lu Ming or Tian Ming? One of them had yet to become an emperor, but he had already mastered 2 types of supreme laws. 2 types of monarch laws, which was unprecedented in history. The other was a rare child of destiny, who controlled destiny and was unparalleled in the world. Chapter 2132. 2 figures appeared in the air and landed on the fighting stage, attracting everyone's attention. Tian Ming, dressed in white, was shrouded in a mysterious light. He looked like an immortal that had descended to the mortal world. He looked at Lu Ming with a faint smile and said, "You're strong, but you're still destined to lose." "Bullshit, I control my own fate. No one can control my fate. If there is, I'll crush them all." Lu Ming was incomparably domineering. He didn't believe in fate at all. His fate was in his own hands, not the heavens. As long as he was strong enough, he could change his fate or even reverse it. The previous people didn't believe in it either. They thought they could resist fate, but in the end, they couldn't escape it. Tian Ming wasn't angry and continued speaking as if he was in control of everything. "Oh, then have you seen your own fate? You'll be beaten into a pig's head by me?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. "My fate is already determined. I won't lose." Tian Ming said softly. "Then I'll change your fate and let you lose once." Boom! 4 types of laws erupted from Lu Ming's body and fused together. Lu Ming's body was like a cannonball that smashed toward Tian Ming. "You're destined to be injured," Tian Ming said softly and pointed with his finger. There were no energy fluctuations, but at this moment, Lu Ming's hair stood on end and his pupils constricted. He felt a terrifying force bombarding and crushing him out of nowhere. Buzz! Lu Ming vibrated his laws and the 4 types of laws gathered into a 4-colored river that surrounded his body and blocked the strange energy attack. Is this the fate law? It's just a type of law. Although it's mysterious and strange, it can't really decide one's fate. It still needs an energy attack. Lu Ming had some understanding of the fate law. Boom! Lu Ming broke through the energy attack and charged toward Tian Ming. "Tian Ming, don't bother with these useless things. Use your divine ability." His figure was like lightning as he approached Tian Ming at lightning speed. "As you wish." Great fate art. The light on Tian Ming's body grew even denser. His figure was almost invisible as he was covered by the light. He pointed with his finger, and a beam of destiny turned into a sword that slashed at Lu Ming. Chi! Lu Ming also pointed out with a finger and used the chaotic finger of calamity. An extremely condensed finger force burst forth and destroyed the light of destiny. However, Tian Ming's finger continued to point out, and rays of light of destiny transformed into various weapons that shot towards Lu Ming. The power of these weapons was extremely shocking. All of them had terrifying killing power. Tian Ming's cultivation was also at the peak of the 2-star illusionary emperor realm. However, his combat strength was absolutely shocking. Every ray of destiny light could instantly kill an ordinary 2-star illusionary emperor or even an ordinary 3-star illusionary emperor. Lu Ming operated the law and covered his palm. He executed the chaotic divine palm and continuously struck out. Bang! 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 Lu Ming defeated the rays of destiny and scattered them like fireworks. Lu Ming was valiant and invincible. He continuously destroyed the rays of destiny that were attacking him. His figure rapidly approached Tian Ming. In the end, Lu Ming broke through the obstruction. He pointed out with a finger, and a chaotic finger of calamity shot towards Tian Ming. Tian Ming's eyes narrowed. A river of destiny formed under his feet and he was in the middle of it. However, Lu Ming's current attack power was stronger than Yuan Xian's. The chaotic finger of calamity crushed over and caused the river of destiny to tremble. Everything is shrouded by the long river of fate. Lu Ming, be defeated. Tian Ming roared and reached out with his hand. He grabbed a figure from the river of destiny. That figure was exactly the same as Lu Ming. However, it looked very illusory and struggled in Tian Ming's hand. It was as if Lu Ming's fate was really in Tian Ming's control. Whoosh! Tian Ming pointed out with a finger and a ray of light pierced through the illusory figure's body. At the same time, a terrifying force appeared out of thin air and blasted towards Lu Ming. It wanted to pierce through Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming let out a loud roar. The power of the four laws vibrated continuously, blocking that surge of power. Bang! Bang! The four types of law power constantly vibrated and collapsed bit by bit. That force was ancient and terrifying. It was unknown where it came from. Even the fusion of the four types of law power couldn't block it. Bang! In the end, Lu Ming frantically retreated. The four types of law power were penetrated. However, after the force penetrated the four types of law power, it was more or less neutralized. It only left a shallow mark on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming wasn't injured. Lu Ming isn't going to be a match for him. However, this is enough to show how terrifying Lu Ming is. Yuan Xian was no match for that move and was seriously injured. However, Tian Ming's move is too terrifying. Seeing Lu Ming being repelled, everyone guessed that the final victor of this battle would be Tian Ming. Some of the forces that had a grudge against Lu Ming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Lu Ming wasn't that heaven-defying. Fate can't be defied, Tian Ming said. He stood in the river of fate as if he was about to reach divinity transformation. Whoosh! Whoosh! He pointed out two fingers in a row and pierced through the illusory figure in his hand. At the same time, Lu Ming suffered a terrifying attack. The law power vibrated. Lu Ming's figure frantically retreated. However, he was blocked in the end and wasn't injured. Bullshit. Lu Ming stepped forward and charged towards Tian Ming. Tian Ming continued to attack with his finger. The force of his finger pierced through the phantom. Lu Ming encountered a terrifying attack. Several terrifying forces were attacking him. Boom! Lu Ming was blasted a few hundred meters away. His body trembled and he felt his blood boil. Lu Ming, I admit that you're a rare genius. However, you can't defy the heavens and defy fate. Tian Ming said coldly and arrogantly. You're so full of yourself. Is that all you've got? Lu Ming sneered. Tian Ming frowned. How can you defeat me with this little strength? You can't hurt me at all, Lu Ming said. Many people were shocked. Indeed, Tian Ming could only repel Lu Ming, but he couldn't seriously injure Lu Ming. Lu Ming could use his powerful defense to drag on and make this battle difficult to determine the winner. Tian Ming's face darkened. His body shone brightly as he continuously pointed his finger. However, he could only repel Lu Ming, but he couldn't injure Lu Ming. Is this your limit? Then today, let me break fate, Lu Ming roared. His body was like lightning as he rushed towards Tianming. Boom! In the process of rushing out, the aura on his body became stronger. The four-colored Law River turned into five-colored Law River. This time, the entire audience was ignited. Gosh, 5 colors, 5 types of laws. Lu Ming has mastered 5 types of laws. Am I seeing things? It's true. It's too terrifying. There's no limit. How is this possible? Everyone was shocked. Previously, Lu Ming had revealed 4 laws, which was already shocking enough. Everyone guessed that it was most likely Lu Ming's limit. Chapter 2133. Lu Ming displayed 5 types of laws. The integration of the 5 types of laws caused an uproar. Many people found it difficult to remain calm. Lu Ming simply had no limit. Now that he had 5 types, no one was sure if he would reveal 6 later. As for Lu Xiangxiang and Ouyang Moli, they jumped in excitement. Swish! Lu Ming traversed the void and approached Tianming in an instant. Tianming's pupils constricted, and his expression was incomparably solemn. His body was almost fused with the river of destiny, becoming illusory. At the same time, he continuously pointed at the illusory figure. This time, he pointed at the illusory figure's forehead. Pfft! The illusory figure's forehead was pierced. Lu Ming, who was charging over, encountered a terrifying attack. An incomparably sharp force attacked Lu Ming's forehead. However, now that Lu Ming had fused 5 types of laws, his combat strength had increased greatly. His laws trembled, blocking the force. Then, Lu Ming struck out with his palm, bombarding the attack. Boom! A shocking explosion erupted, and the void trembled. The force that attacked Lu Ming was extremely shocking, but it was still defeated by Lu Ming. Try my finger. Lu Ming rushed over and pointed with his finger at the same time. Energy surged between heaven and earth, converging into an incomparably huge primal chaos tribulation finger that crushed toward the river of destiny. Whoosh! This time, the river of destiny couldn't withstand the power of the primal chaos tribulation finger. The river rolled and shook, and the water surged, stirring up thousands of waves. Rumble! As the primal chaos tribulation finger pressed down, the river of destiny seemed to be about to collapse. At this moment, the scene was dead silent. Many people didn't even dare to breathe loudly because they knew that this was the critical moment. It was time to determine the victor. Who would win? River of Destiny / Tianming roared. He was absorbing the power of the River of Destiny, turning into a ray of light that slashed at the primal chaos tribulation finger. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded in the sky. The light that Tianming slashed out blocked the primal chaos tribulation finger, and the two dissipated. Again. Lu Ming pointed a few more times. Boundless energy gathered, and a total of 3 chaos tribulation fingers shot toward Tianming. Tianming could only do his best to resist. The situation had completely reversed from before. Earlier, Lu Ming had been at a disadvantage when Tianming used the River of Destiny, but now, Tianming was at a disadvantage again. The situation was rapidly changing. Boom! 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 Another 3 rumbling sounds rang out. The 3 chaos fingers of calamity were blocked, but Tianming's figure retreated frantically. The river of fate trembled, and the radiance became somewhat dim. You broke through my defense. Tianming roared. Even now, you're still so confident. Let's shatter your confidence. Lu Ming stepped into the void and clenched his fist. A massive sword light condensed in the air. Sword of Death. This was a killer move that Lu Ming had created himself. It contained the 4 laws of death, devour, array Dao, and extreme energy. This was not a simple fusion of laws. Instead, it was a divine ability constructed from the various miraculous effects of the four laws. This kind of divine ability was many times stronger than a simple law fusion. Although Lu Ming could only use the four laws, he couldn't block it. This divine ability had become one of Lu Ming's strongest killer moves. Slash! Lu Ming roared and slashed down with his sword. This sword cut through the void and slashed at Tian Ming. Tian Ming tried his best to resist, but it was useless. His river of fate trembled violently before it was cut in two by the sword of death and exploded. Tian Ming retreated frantically, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood that dyed his snow-white robe red. Tian Ming was injured. With his river of fate broken, he was severely injured. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming did not stop there. He used the Chaos Calamity finger and continuously pointed. A few huge fingers shot toward Tian Ming. Tian Ming wasn't blasted out of the battle stage, but he didn't admit defeat either. The battle wasn't over yet. Tian Ming was unwilling to give up and tried his best to resist. However, he was severely injured and his battle strength was weakened. Moreover, his river of fate had been cut. He couldn't resist Lu Ming at all. After a few moves, he was sent flying 100 miles. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood and his face was pale. He had been sent flying out of the battle stage. You've lost. Lu Ming stood in the middle of the battle stage and said indifferently. Defeated. Tian Ming had lost. The crowd was silent at first, but when they came to their senses, there was an uproar. Lu Ming is really heaven-defying. He defeated Tian Ming as a quasi-emperor. The legend of the law of fate has been broken. Fate can be broken. Man can conquer the heavens. The crowd was in an uproar. No one had expected that Tian Ming would be defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had defeated Tian Ming and stood at the peak. At first, no one thought highly of Lu Ming. When they found out that Lu Ming hadn't broken through to the martial emperor realm, they even mocked him. At that time, no one thought that Lu Ming would be able to enter the top 10. Even more so, no one thought that Lu Ming would take first place in the end. Master is invincible. I know that my master is invincible. Xiang Xiang jumped up in excitement and didn't forget to look at the few elders nearby. Those elders were also in a daze. When they saw Xiang Xiang's gaze, they couldn't help but blush. Young master is really amazing. Qiu Yu's face was full of smiles. Huang Ling, Long Chen, Luo Tianyi, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others also had smiles on their faces. Death Blade looked at Lu Ming in silence. As for Heng Xinghe, his face was extremely dark. There was even a hint of fear. Lu Ming's battle strength had exceeded his expectations. If Lu Ming attacked with his full strength, he could kill him in a single blow. Brother Wu Xiang, Brother Kong, Brother Heng, Brother He, I heard that Lu Ming came from Yuan Mountain. Who would have thought that Yuan Mountain would have such a genius? Congratulations. Some great emperors congratulated Uncle Kong, Great Emperor Wu Xiang, Great Emperor Heng, and He clan. Ha ha ha. Both Uncle Kong and Emperor Wu Xiang laughed heartily. Emperor He and Emperor Heng harumphed coldly. Their faces were extremely dark. They couldn't wait to slap Lu Ming to death. How could they be happy when others congratulated them? How could this be? The ones with the worst expressions were the Heng clan, He clan, Ancient Moon Sacred Land, Golden Crow clan, Wan clan, and other forces. Their faces were pale. Lu Ming's talent was too terrifying. If Lu Ming was allowed to grow, they would all be destroyed in the future. Thinking of this, their hearts were filled with fear. Damn it! Yuan Xian roared. He couldn't accept that Lu Ming had taken first place. Tian Ming couldn't accept it either. His eyes flashed, but they eventually fell silent. Alright, the Battle of 10 Earths ends here. It's all over. The white-haired elder walked out and smiled. Now, I announce the top 10 in the Battle of 10 Earths. First place, Lu Ming. Second place, Tian Ming. Third place, Yuan Xian. Chapter 2134. There was a deafening cheer at the scene. Without a doubt, Lu Ming was the center of attention. The Battle of the 10 Earths had gathered all the geniuses of the entire primordial realm. Moreover, this generation was known as the Golden Age. Geniuses came out in large numbers and experts gathered. Many of the sons of heaven were reduced to foils and attracted the attention of the world. And Lu Ming stepped over all the geniuses and fought at the peak. He used his strength to prove to everyone that he was the strongest. He's already so terrifying before becoming an emperor. His future is limitless. With such heaven-defying talent, if he continues to grow, he'll probably become a top expert in the world. Most people were discussing Lu Ming. However, Yuan Xian and Tian Ming were ignored. The Son of Destiny and the Son of Chaos were originally dazzling and eye-catching, but at this moment, all of their glory was snatched away by one person. Big Brother Lu Ming, you're really too powerful. Bubbles hung on Lu Ming's body, unwilling to let go. Master is so powerful. Xiang Xiang and Ouyang Moli also came over and looked at Lu Ming with admiration. In their eyes, Lu Ming was invincible. Lu Ming, congratulations. Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others also walked over and congratulated Lu Ming. To be honest, Lu Ming being able to defeat Tian Ming was also beyond their expectations. Everyone, this is not over yet. Now, it's time to give you your rewards. At this moment, the white-haired old man's voice sounded again, and the scene suddenly fell silent. Yes, there were rewards for passing the selection previously. They could enter that corner of the world and obtain great opportunities. How could there be no rewards now? At least, the rewards for the top 10 were definitely amazing. Especially the first place. Many people revealed envious expressions and looked at the white-haired old man, guessing what the rewards were. But there was no doubt that the rewards would be better than the previous selection. The reward this time is a little special, so you'll have to wait for a while. You'll know when the time comes. After the white-haired elder finished speaking, he went to an ancient altar at the peak of heaven's Mandate Mountain. He waved his hands, and rays of light entered the altar. The altar emitted a resplendent light, and a ray of light pierced through the void and into the depths of the heavens before disappearing. Everyone was curious, but they didn't ask and waited patiently. This wait lasted for 2 days. On this day, a muffled rumble suddenly came from the depths of the sky. Then, a resplendent golden light covered half the sky. Look, there's a door. Someone exclaimed. In the depths of the sky, where the light was the brightest, a door suddenly appeared. This wasn't a gate of light, but rather something that seemed to be made of bronze. Roar! Roar! The door was open, and roaring sounds could be heard from behind it, shaking heaven and earth. Dragon roar. Many people could tell that it was the roar of a true dragon. Then, everyone saw the sound of footsteps coming from the door, and the dragon's roar was getting louder and louder. Then, the crowd saw 9 true dragons rushing out from the gate. The 9 true dragons were side by side, pulling a huge chariot that appeared in the depths of the sky. On the chariot stood a number of figures. Most of them were young people who looked to be in their 20s. There were both men and women, and all of them had extraordinary temperaments. There was only one middle-aged man on the chariot. He was wearing iron armor, and his body was emitting a terrifying aura. That was the aura of a great emperor. At the highest point of the chariot sat a figure, but this figure was shrouded in divine light, and his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Many people were shocked. Who was this person? He appeared from the depths of the sky, and he was being pulled by 9 true dragons. There were also true dragons on Yuan Mountain, and at this moment, many of them had ugly expressions. Using 9 true dragons to pull a chariot was a humiliation to the true dragon race. However, the aura emitted by the middle-aged man was too shocking. It was filled with killing intent and endless murderous intent. It was as if they were in an endless hell. Even many great emperors had solemn expressions. The true dragons stepped into the air and arrived above Tianming Mountain, floating there. The white-haired old man and some other great emperors stepped forward and cupped their fists. Greetings, Heavenly Realm emissaries. What? Heavenly Realm emissaries? Everyone was shocked. They finally understood that these people were actually from the Heavenly Realm. The Heavenly Realm might not be unfamiliar to some great emperors because great emperors should have channels to enter the Heavenly Realm. But for those below the great emperor level, the Heavenly Realm was a legend. Many powerful forces knew that the Heavenly Realm was at war, but they had never been to the Heavenly Realm. It was even more so for the younger generation. Now, they finally saw the people from the Heavenly Realm. Many people's eyes lit up as they sized up the people from the Heavenly Realm. It's them. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. On the Heavenly Realm's chariot, he saw 2 young men that he had seen before. Previously, when he entered the primordial realm, he had seen 2 young men in the corner of the world that he had left behind. One had purple hair and an extraordinary temperament, unfathomable. The other was dressed in a black robe and controlled the law of reincarnation. He was a son of reincarnation and had fought with Lu Ming before. These 2 are indeed from the Heavenly Realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. At this moment, he thought of many things. It seemed that the primordial realm's prodigies were not the only ones who had entered that corner of the world. Perhaps the Heavenly Realm's prodigies had also entered. Could it be that the so-called opportunity is related to the Heavenly Realm? The Heavenly Realm has been around for countless years. It's much older than the primordial realm. Legend has it that there are endless opportunities. Some people discussed softly. Although many people knew that the 9 heavens domain in the Heavenly Realm had been mostly occupied by the foreign tribes, there was still the strongest and largest heavenly domain in the Heavenly Realm, the Tai Ching Heavenly Domain, which was still under control. Legend had it that the Tai Ching Heavenly Domain's area was not smaller than the Yuanlu. It also contained all kinds of opportunities from the Heavenly Realm over countless years. Many people's eyes burned with passion. Who are the top 10 prodigies of the primordial realm? Step forward and take a look. The middle-aged man in iron armor stepped forward, his voice spreading throughout the area. Many people retreated, while Lu Ming and the other top 10 prodigies stepped forward and appeared in the middle of the Destiny Mountain. The middle-aged man's gaze swept across the 10 prodigies like lightning. A layer of goosebumps appeared on Lu Ming's body. It was as if the armored man's gaze could see through them. After the armored man swept his gaze around, he nodded and said with satisfaction, "Not bad." It said that the primordial realm is also full of prodigies. You didn't let me down. This time, many of you can enter the Heavenly Realm and obtain great opportunities. As the armored man spoke, many people's eyes lit up. It was indeed so. The reward this time was related to the Heavenly Realm. General, I heard that the primordial realm has also reached its golden age. Many prodigies have gathered. Now that the top 10 strongest prodigies have been determined, I'm itching to spar with the prodigies of the primordial realm. Chapter 2135. Many people's eyes flickered. The prodigies of the Heaven Realm were going to challenge the prodigies of the Yuan Realm. However, it was normal. They were all young and full of vigor and confidence. When they saw a strong opponent, it was inevitable that they would want to learn from each other. The eyes of the Yuan Realm prodigies also lit up. They also wanted to know how strong the prodigies of the Heaven Realm were. Alright, then let's learn from each other. The armored burly man nodded. They had brought the prodigies of the heaven realm over with such a plan. Thank you, General. The burly young man cupped his fists and stepped forward. His gaze swept over Lu Ming and the others. He had short hair, each strand like a needle. His gaze was sharp like a lion's. I cultivate the Archean martial arts of the Archean system. Among you, there should be someone who cultivates the Archean system. The short-haired young man spoke. His gaze swept over the 10 people with a faint arrogance. Bam! 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 Bao De, Xia Ku, and the ancient devil stepped forward at the same time. A powerful aura erupted from their bodies. I'll take you on. Bao De spoke. His body was like an iron tower, filled with infinite power. He's mine. Xia Ku also spoke. There was a trace of coldness in his eyes. He was a purple gold dragon, a royal of the true dragon clan. However, the other party used 9 dragons to pull the carriage, which made him extremely unhappy. The short-haired young man glanced at the 3 of them. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. That trace of contempt was not concealed at all. An Archean physique cultivator, an Archean demon cultivator, and an Archean demon cultivator. Very well, the 3 of you, come at me together. The short-haired young man said indifferently. His contempt was even stronger. What? Many people's faces changed. This short-haired young man was too arrogant. He actually asked Bao De and the others to come at him together. After all, Bao De had obtained 4th place. His combat strength was extremely powerful. With Xia Ku and the ancient devil, they could even fight Yuan Xian. This short-haired young man had such strong combat strength? Arrogant, I'll take you on. Xia Ku was already angry. Now that he was being looked down upon by the other party, how could he bear it? He roared and transformed into his original form. He charged at the short-haired young man. His 5 dragon claws continuously stepped out, wanting to tear the short-haired young man apart. Boom! The short-haired young man struck out with his palm. His palm directly pierced through the void and collided with Xia Ku's dragon claw. Roar! Chil roared, his entire dragon body trembling violently as he retreated. That is, everyone saw that Chil's dragon claw had cracked open. It was covered with cracks and blood was flowing out. With just one move, he had injured Xia Ku, which was shocking. Many people's gazes were solemn. This short-haired youth's combat strength was absolutely terrifying. Tianming and Yuan Xian both had serious looks on their faces. I said, the 3 of you should come at me together. Otherwise, you won't be able to withstand a single blow. The short-haired young man said with even more disdain. Then let's meet you. Bao De let out a furious roar. His muscular body swelled as he threw out a punch. Similarly, he punched through the void. At the same time, the ancient devil also made his move. A demonic light slashed toward his opponent. Roar! Chelk roared. Blood energy filled the air, and the wound on his dragon claw quickly healed. His body emitted a purple gold light as he charged towards the short-haired youth. 3 geniuses from the archaic system attacked at the same time, shocking the heavens and earth. Ha ha ha, that's more like it. The short-haired youth laughed. One of his palms changed, as if it had turned into jade. It was so transparent that even the blood vessels in his flesh could be seen. Boom! 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 The short-haired youth attacked, throwing out 3 consecutive palms. Pung! The ancient devil collided with a palm print. His body shook violently as he was sent flying a few thousand meters away. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood and his aura was weak. He had been severely injured. Pung! Pung! Next, it was Chil and Bao De. Both of them retreated frantically. Is that all you've got? Not enough? Come again. The short-haired youth charged towards Baoda and Chil. His palms struck out continuously. Baoda and Chil tried their best to resist, but they were no match for him. The short-haired youth's palms seemed to have the power to split open the heavens. After more than 10 moves, Baoda and Chil coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. Their arms were shattered, and they were severely injured. They were unable to continue fighting. Everyone was shocked. This short-haired youth was too terrifying. There were no law fluctuations on his body. It was obvious that he also cultivated the archaic system. However, his strength was astonishing. He easily defeated Baoda, Chil, and the ancient devil. He should be one of the top sky prides in the heavenly realm. Someone guessed. You guys are too weak. The short-haired youth glanced at Baoda and the other two and stepped back. Baoda, Chil, and the ancient devil's faces were ugly. However, the other party was indeed powerful. This made them feel helpless and they had suffered a great blow. I'll spar with the sky prides of the primordial realm. After the short-haired youth returned, another youth walked out from the heavenly realm. This person was wearing a gray robe. His eyes were as bright as the stars. He looked at the crowd and said, I cultivate the law system. Who wants to spar with me? I'll spar with you. Yun Haoge was the first to speak. He stepped forward. The void around his body undulated like waves. His 2-star Void Emperor cultivation was undoubtedly revealed. The Spacetime Child, 2-star Void Emperor? How about this? I'll suppress my cultivation to 2-star Void Emperor. The gray-robed youth said. Then, a powerful aura emanated from his body. He was a 2-star Void Emperor. Everyone was shocked. The gray-robed youth's words were very obvious. His true cultivation had surpassed that of a 2-star Void Emperor. Now, he wanted to fight with Yun Haoge at the same level. In that case, don't regret it. Yun Haoge said. As soon as his voice fell, he made his move. He shuttled through the void and charged towards his opponent. His speed was astonishing. The gray-robed youth's face remained calm. At this moment, he waved his hand, and the law erupted. A large cauldron appeared in his hand. The primordial law. This person was a son of primordial chaos. At this moment, the large cauldron in his hand was formed by the primordial law. The primordial cauldron quickly expanded to the size of a mountain and suppressed Yun Haoge. The power of the primordial cauldron was too shocking. It directly crushed the void and caused spacetime to become chaotic. Boom! Wherever the primordial cauldron passed, the space constantly exploded. Yun Haoge's expression changed drastically. At this moment, he felt a shocking force crushing towards him. He wanted to escape, but he could not. He could only face it head-on. He used all his strength and blasted out a blow, bombarding the primordial cauldron. However, the result was that his body was sent flying. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and his arm exploded. It was a tragic sight. Many people gasped in shock. One move, just one move, and Yun Haoge was defeated. The other party did not use too high of a cultivation. Instead, he suppressed his cultivation to that of a 2-star Void Emperor and fought with Yun Haoge at the same level. However, he defeated Yun Haoge with one move. How was this possible? Many people found it hard to believe, but this was the truth. Too weak. Chapter 2136. The young man in a gray robe from the heaven boundary had challenged Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian squinted his eyes. He was not confident that he could win against the young man in a gray robe. However, since the other party had challenged him, he could not avoid the challenge. Yuan Xian stepped out and his aura exploded. 2 types of laws spread out. The young man in a gray robe was surprised and he said, "You have comprehended 2 types of laws and merged them together. Not bad. I wonder how strong you are now. I will show you." Chaotic Divine Body. Yuan Xian did not dare to be careless against the young man in a gray robe. He immediately used his strongest attack and used his Chaotic Divine Body. Yuan Xian's body was covered in the color of primal chaos, as if it was made from primal chaos stones. His aura had reached its peak. Interesting. Come on, let me see your strength. Don't worry, I will still suppress my cultivation to that of a 2-star empty emperor. The young man in a gray robe revealed a faint smile and a tinge of interest. However, he did not panic at all. His attitude showed that he was looking down on Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian's eyes were filled with anger. He let out a roar and stepped into the air, charging towards the young man in a gray robe. Boom! Yuan Xian threw out a punch. His fist was like a chaotic stone and it flew towards the young man in a gray robe. The young man in a gray robe stretched out his hand and a primordial cauldron appeared in his palm. It grew rapidly and became the size of a mountain. The young man in a gray robe waved his hand and the primordial cauldron flew towards Yuan Xian to suppress him. Dong! Yuan Xian's punch landed on the primordial cauldron. The cauldron shook violently and sound waves swept out in all directions. Many top powers emitted light from their bodies and blocked the sound waves. Yuan Xian also suffered a terrifying impact. His body trembled and he was forced to retreat. He stepped on the air and exploded. Not bad. You can block one of my attacks. You have some strength. Let's see how many of my attacks you can block. The young man in a gray robe said. He seemed surprised. He then pressed his hand down and the primordial cauldron flew towards Yuan Xian again. Break! Yuan Xian roared. Both of his fists continued to bombard. One punch after another, it was like a violent storm. However, what was unbelievable was that after every attack, Yuan Xian was forced to retreat. He was no match for the young man and he was suppressed. After more than 10 attacks, he had retreated a few hundred meters and blood flowed out of his mouth. Suppress! The gray-robed young man whispered. His eyes flashed with a sharp light, and he pressed down with his hand again. The cauldron trembled and grew even larger as it pressed down on Yuan Xian. Boom! This time, Yuan Xian was in an even more miserable state. His body directly fell down and heavily smashed into the battle stage at the top of Destiny Mountain, causing the battle stage to tremble violently. How could this be? In the primordial realm, many young geniuses roared in disbelief. Yuan Xian, the son of chaos, a peerless genius. This time, he was ranked 3rd among all the geniuses in the primordial realm. Even such an expert had been defeated. Furthermore, he had been defeated so easily. Most importantly, the other party had already suppressed his cultivation to the level of a 2-star illusionary monarch, yet he was still able to suppress Yuan Xian with ease. What was going on? The son of chaos was supposed to be invincible among cultivators of the same level as him, so how could he have been suppressed so miserably? 2nd level laws. The other party's laws have already reached the 2nd level. A powerful true emperor said. The 2nd realm of laws? Some people didn't understand. Immediately, a senior figure explained. When one cultivated to quasi-emperor, one's laws would be consummation, forming a river. However, this so-called consummation was only the consummation of a certain stage. To be precise, it was only the consummation of the 1st realm of laws. The cultivation of laws was divided into 3 realms. After breaking through to the martial emperor realm, some experts could break through their laws again and cultivate them to the 2nd or even the 3rd realm. Of course, the difficulty of that was extremely shocking. However, once a breakthrough was made, the power would also be shocking. Once a person broke through to the second realm, the power of their laws would increase exponentially. Even the path of the monarch would be able to contend with the strongest laws after reaching the second realm. The grey-robed young man's primordial laws had already reached the second realm. In a battle of the same level, he could easily defeat the Son of Chaos. However, according to the senior figures, only high-level illusionary monarchs could cultivate their laws to the second realm. Some people would never be able to break through in their lifetime. However, the other party had broken through to the second realm of the primordial laws at such a young age. It was shocking. The geniuses of the primordial realm are really flowers in a greenhouse. They can't even withstand a single blow. How boring. The grey-robed young man looked down at Yuan Xian and said indifferently, his voice full of disdain. Damn it! The geniuses of the primordial realm were all furious. It was really uncomfortable to be looked down upon like this. However, the other party's combat strength was too shocking. Even Tian Ming and Lu Ming would probably be defeated if they went up against him. Therefore, they could do nothing about being looked down upon by the other party and could only swallow their anger. After the grey-robed young man finished speaking, he seemed to have lost interest and returned to the war chariot. At that moment, a woman walked out. This woman was wearing a suit of iron armor. She was heroic and had a murderous aura. She glanced at Lu Ming and the others and said, "I heard that the child of destiny has been born in the primordial realm. I'm very curious about how wonderful the path of destiny is. Do you dare to fight with me?" Tian Ming's eyes flashed. The other party had directly challenged the child of destiny. He could only accept the challenge. Stepping out, his white robe fluttering, Tian Ming looked at the heroic woman and said, "I am the child of destiny. What's your cultivation level?" The heroic woman asked. 2-star illusionary monarch. Tian Ming said. 2-star illusionary monarch. Great, I'm also a 2-star illusionary monarch. The heroic woman said, and the aura of the laws emanated from her body. Path of the monarch laws. You have a monarch body? Tian Ming was stunned, and a trace of displeasure flashed in his eyes. The other party had a monarch body. She dared to challenge him with a monarch body. This was looking down on him. So what if I have a monarch body? Even a monarch body can defeat you. The heroic woman's aura became stronger. A long spear appeared in her hand. The long spear stirred up the wind and clouds as it pierced toward Tian Ming. As the long spear pierced out, the aura of the heroic woman's body skyrocketed. She was like an invincible war goddess. Great art of destiny. Tian Ming did not dare to underestimate his opponent. He displayed the great art of destiny and turned into a rainbow light, charging toward the heroic woman. Boom! The light of destiny collided with the opponent's long spear, and an astonishing fluctuation erupted. The heroic-looking woman was successfully blocked. Second-level laws. However, you're no match for me even though you're at the second level of the path of the monarch laws. Tian Ming shouted and launched a counterattack. He could see that the other party's laws had already reached the second level. However, he cultivated the path of destiny, while the other party only cultivated the path of the monarch laws. He was fearless and could crush the other party. Whoosh! Whoosh! Tian Ming's finger continued to point out, and rays of light of destiny bombarded the other party. If one doesn't work, then I'll use 2, 3. The heroic woman said coldly. Her aura became stronger as 3 types of laws erupted. Moreover, she had completely mastered them. 3 path of the monarch laws and 2 of them have already reached the second level. How is this possible at such a young age? A true emperor with snow-white hair roared in disbelief. Chapter 2137. The others were also shocked. This heroic woman looked so young, but she had already comprehended and fused 3 King Tao laws. Moreover, 2 of them had already reached the 2nd level. This was simply shocking. The heroic woman's aura was like a rainbow. She wore iron armor and held a long spear in her hand. She was like a goddess of war. She stabbed out with her spear, causing the wind and clouds to change color. 3 types of laws exploded out at the same time, and a terrifying spear stabbed towards Tianming. Tianming's eyes narrowed. His body glowed, and the River of Destiny appeared. He stood in the middle of the River of Destiny and used it to resist. However, the huge spear seemed to be able to pierce through the sky. It directly pierced into the River of Fate, causing the River of Fate to tremble and create huge waves. The laws of destiny were extremely profound, powerful, and unparalleled. When he made a move, it was as if his words were the law. With a single word, he could determine the success or failure of others, determine their life or death, and determine their fate. However, that was only relative to those with weak cultivations. Once one's cultivation reached a certain level, one would be able to break through the laws of fate with one's strength. Previously, Lu Ming was like this. And now, the heroic woman was the same. The River of Fate surged before finally exploding. Tianming's body trembled violently as he staggered backward, coughing up a mouthful of blood. Tianming had lost. The scene was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded and speechless. Was this the prodigy of the heaven realm? He was just a king body, yet he was able to defeat the child of destiny of the primordial realm. It was like a dream. So what if you're a son of heaven? So what if he was the child of destiny? Below the martial emperor realm, they might have an absolute advantage. However, after the martial emperor realm, anything is possible. In the future, I will also use the law of kings to derive the strongest law and trample all the Elysian children under my feet. The heroic-looking woman spoke. Her voice was filled with confidence. She had a king-type body. Under the martial emperor realm, it was impossible for her to fight against an Elysian child. However, after she had broken through to the martial emperor realm, she had broken through to the martial emperor realm and comprehended 3 king-type laws. 2 of them had even reached the 2nd level. Many Elysian children of the same level were no match for her. The heroic woman's words shook the hearts of many people. It also made the eyes of many king bodies and even young people who cultivated ordinary laws light up. Indeed, so what if they fell behind now? They still had a chance. After breaking through to martial emperor, they might erupt with power and surpass the Elysian child. They would charge all the way to the peak. Some of the older generation figures shook their heads. It was easier said than done to achieve this. Even after breaking through to martial emperor, it was extremely difficult to comprehend the laws of kings. As for comprehending the strongest laws, the difficulty was even more astonishing. It was as difficult as ascending to the blue sky. For a woman with a heroic spirit to be able to reach this step, she was already a rare genius. However, they naturally wouldn't say anything to dampen the enthusiasm of those young people. The heroic woman didn't say anything and returned to the war chariot. Tianming's expression turned ugly. In the past, he had been invincible, sweeping through the world. Among the younger generation, there was no one who could match him. However, during this period of time, he had suffered consecutive defeats. First, he lost to Lu Ming. Lu Ming had yet to become a martial emperor. Now, he had lost to someone with a king physique, which dealt a great blow to his confidence. At the same time, the youths of the primordial realm also looked dejected. The geniuses of the celestial realm were too strong. No one in the primordial realm was a match for them, and they suffered consecutive crushing defeats. These geniuses from the heaven realm should be the strongest group of geniuses in the heaven realm. The resources in the heaven realm are better, so it's normal for them to have such cultivation. That's right, they must be the strongest group of people in the heaven realm. Some of the youths discussed. Although they were whispering, they were still heard by the people from the heaven realm. The grey-robed youth from before sneered and said, "Don't comfort yourselves. In the heaven realm, we are not the strongest group of people at all. At most, we can only be considered second tier. The strongest group of people are much stronger than me." What? These words stunned the geniuses of the primordial realm. Even many of the older generation were a little stunned. The youths of the heaven realm were not the strongest. In the heaven realm, there were people stronger than them. They could only be considered second tier. Many of the geniuses of the primordial realm had ugly expressions. Even Tianming, Yuan Xian, Bao De, and the others had ugly expressions and were somewhat discouraged. Is the gap between our primordial realm and the heaven realm that big? I heard that the heaven realm only has one celestial realm left. How can it still be so terrifying? If it was at its peak, how strong would it be? Many people discussed and became even more dejected. You don't have to be discouraged. At this moment, the armored burly man stepped out, and his voice spread throughout the entire place. Many people looked at him. Your talents are actually not bad. Many of your talents are not inferior to the top geniuses of the heaven realm at all. What you lack is resources and training. The heaven realm has existed for countless years. Although there is only one celestial realm left now, it is the largest celestial realm. The resources, treasures, and various cultivation holy lands that have been accumulated over countless years are incomparable to the primordial realm. That is why their cultivation is stronger than yours. Also, the heaven realm is now at war with the foreign tribes. Sometimes, they will also step onto the battlefield and fight to the death. Only by training through life and death can they become stronger. The armored burly man said. These words made the eyes of many geniuses of the primordial realm light up again, and they regained their confidence. Yes, it was not that their talents were bad. It was just that their resources were not as good as the geniuses of the heaven realm. How could the children of the heavens be bad? So, this time, I will bring a group of geniuses of the primordial realm to the heaven realm. The resources of the heaven realm will be completely open to you. The armored burly man said again. Many geniuses' eyes shone with ecstasy. The resources of the heaven realm and various cultivation holy lands were not something the primordial realm could compare to. They were tempted and wanted to go. They understood that this was the reward of this battle of 10 earths. It was indeed tempting. Obviously, the heaven realm wanted to cultivate geniuses so that this generation of geniuses could rise quickly. As long as you obtain the resources of the heaven realm, you may be able to compete with them in the future. The armored burly man pointed at the geniuses of the heaven realm and encouraged them. Senior, actually, the number one genius of our primordial realm has not made a move yet. If he does, he may not lose. A youth from the primordial realm spoke up. Previously, their primordial realm had been losing consecutively, and some of the youths were still uncomfortable. At this moment, someone could not help but speak up. Oh! The armored burly man and the geniuses of the heaven realm all looked surprised. At first, they all thought that Tianming was the number one genius of the primordial realm. They did not expect that the number one genius of the primordial realm was someone else. Who is the number one genius of the primordial realm? The armored burly man asked. Many people looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was speechless. Originally, he did not want to stand out because the cultivation of the geniuses of the heaven realm was too high. Even if he made a move, he might not be able to win. But now, he was pushed forward. Chapter 2138. The armored burly man glanced at Lu Ming and was shocked. With his cultivation, he could easily see through Lu Ming's cultivation. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the quasi-emperor level, so he did not take it to heart. He never expected Lu Ming to be the #1 supreme talent in the Yuan realm. Could Lu Ming be stronger than the Destiny's Child? The heavenly talents of the Heaven realm also looked at Lu Ming in surprise. "So it's you, General. I'll take him on." A voice rang out, and a black-robed youth stepped out of the war chariot and walked towards Lu Ming. This person was dressed in a black robe and had long hair like a waterfall. His face was cold and arrogant, and his eyes were sharp. He was the youth that Lu Ming had met in the other world. At that time, this person was with the purple-haired youth, and the two of them seemed to be fellow disciples. At that time, Lu Ming had fought with this person, but the other party seemed to have something to do and ignored Lu Ming. He had wanted to fight for a long time. Now that he heard that Lu Ming was the #1 supreme talent in the Yuan realm, he could not wait to attack. "Let's fight. Let me see how strong you are." The black-robed youth stared at Lu Ming, and the arrogance in his eyes intensified. His aura shot up to the sky. He was a 2-star Void Emperor. Buzz! Buzz! Then, 6 pitch-black vortexes appeared behind him, spinning continuously. These were reincarnation vortexes that wanted to swallow people into the cycle of reincarnation. This person was a son of reincarnation. In fact, after becoming a martial emperor, there was almost no need to call one a son of heaven. This was because after becoming a martial emperor, there were people who could cultivate the strongest laws. Those who did so after becoming a martial emperor could not be called a son of heaven. However, it was difficult to distinguish who was born and who was born. Therefore, after becoming a martial emperor, people rarely used such a title. However, the black-robed youth's reincarnation law had an extremely oppressive aura. The 6 vortexes seemed to want to swallow the entire world. "Remember, the person who defeated you is called Li Yu." After saying that, the black-robed youth pressed down with one hand, and the 6 vortexes pressed down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. Li Yu's battle prowess was definitely above Yuan Xian and even Tian Ming. His cultivation was at the pinnacle of the 2-star illusionary emperor realm. He was no weaker than Tian Ming and Yuan Xian. Moreover, his reincarnation law had already broken through to the 2nd level. Lu Ming did not hold back and directly exploded with his full strength. The 5 types of laws all burst out, and a 5-colored river of laws surrounded his body. Whoosh! Lu Ming soared into the sky and struck out with his palm. Rumble! The terrifying palm force slammed into the 6 reincarnation vortexes, causing them to tremble incessantly. Li Yu's body also trembled as he retreated continuously. 2 supreme laws? Impossible! How is this possible? A shocked voice came out of Li Yu's mouth. He widened his eyes and stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. He had actually sensed 2 supreme laws from Lu Ming. This was absolutely unbelievable. He was not the only one. The other geniuses of the Heaven realm also widened their eyes and stared at Lu Ming in a daze. They had the expression of a virgin who had not seen the world. "Now it's your turn to be shocked." Some of the geniuses of the primordial realm were excited. When they saw that the geniuses of the Heaven domain were shocked, they were delighted. Boom! Even the armored burly man could not control himself. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, and his eyes widened. He was dumbfounded. At the same time, a terrifying and oppressive aura permeated between heaven and earth. This aura made people feel as if they were facing the might of the heavens and could not resist it. It was as if they were ants. The stronger one's cultivation, the deeper the feeling. Many of the great emperors' faces changed drastically, and they broke out in cold sweat. They looked at the figure sitting on the Heaven domain's war chariot. The heaven-like aura came from this figure. This figure had been shrouded in divine light, and his appearance could not be seen clearly. Before this, he had been very calm, and there was no abnormality. At this time, after seeing Lu Ming erupt with 2 supreme laws, this figure fluctuated and revealed a trace of aura. Sky. Sky Emperor. A martial monarch spoke with great difficulty. The hearts of the crowd shuddered. Sky Emperor. The figure sitting on the war chariot was actually the Sky Emperor. The Sky Emperor contained the might of the heavens. However, the aura was restrained as soon as it was released, and the terrifying pressure disappeared. You can comprehend 2 supreme laws and 3 supreme laws of the Path of Kings in the Boundary Emperor realm. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect the primordial realm to have such a person. Continue, let me experience it. Li Yu was not shocked but delighted. His fighting spirit was stronger. He laughed and rushed towards Lu Ming. Along the way, his aura became stronger, and another law also spread out. Li Yu had mastered 2 laws, one was the reincarnation law, and the other was the Path of Kings. However, the Path of Kings had not broken through to the 2nd realm, and was only at the 1st realm. However, it also increased Li Yu's combat strength by a level. 6 Paths of Reincarnation Fist. Li Yu stretched out his arms and punched out. The fist carried the power of laws and crushed towards Lu Ming. Sword of Death. Lu Ming used one of his strongest killing moves, the Sword of Death. A huge battle sword condensed and was held in Lu Ming's hand. Previously, Lu Ming used this move to cut off Tian Ming's River of Destiny. Swoosh. The Sword of Death slashed out violently. Boom. An earth-shattering roar sounded. The Sword of Death collided with the other party's fist light, stirring up endless energy. The force was like a raging wave, wave after wave, sweeping in all directions. Boom. The 2 of them retreated 100 meters each. Li Yu was indeed stronger than Tian Ming. Previously, Lu Ming could cut off Tian Ming's River of Destiny with a sword, but now, he could not defeat Li Yu. Again. Li Yu roared and charged towards Lu Ming again. The 6 Paths of Reincarnation Fist covered the sky and the earth as it charged towards Lu Ming. Come on. Lu Ming roared, his eyes revealing an excited fighting spirit. He was indeed excited. In the Yuan realm, among the younger generation, he was already invincible. Once the Sword of Death was used, even Tian Ming would be defeated. But now, Li Yu was able to fight with him. This would allow Lu Ming to continue perfecting the Sword of Death. Lu Ming was only at the initial stage of the Sword of Death. He could barely exert the mysteries of the 4 laws, but he was still far from mastering it. Only in a great battle could he continue to perfect it. Boom! Boom! The 2 of them charged at each other, fighting and resisting each other. It was incomparably intense. I didn't expect there to be such a character in the Yuan realm. The young man from the heavenly realm had a rare solemn expression. Lu Ming is indeed powerful. He can fight against the geniuses of the heavenly realm. The geniuses of the Yuan realm smiled and finally felt a little better. Previously, the geniuses of the Yuan realm were completely suppressed by the geniuses of the heavenly realm. Although the heavenly realm had more resources, so their opponents were stronger, and they were not bad in terms of talent, they were still unhappy. Chapter 2139. The battle was very intense, and in the blink of an eye, over 100 moves had passed. Awesome, awesome! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He realized that as the battle continued, the power of his Sword of Death became stronger and stronger, and he became more proficient in the use of the 4 laws. This kid is using Li Yu to cultivate his supernatural powers. What a terrifying talent! The armored burly man saw through Lu Ming's purpose and was secretly shocked. Damn it! Li Yu roared in his heart because he realized that the more they fought, the stronger Lu Ming became. In the beginning, they were evenly matched, but now, he was faintly suppressing him. He was furious. He couldn't be defeated by a prodigy of the primordial realm. He roared and tried his best to fight Lu Ming. Let's cultivate the hammer of chaos. Lu Ming didn't care about what Liu thought. Now, he was completely immersed in cultivating his supernatural powers. Suddenly, his attack changed. The sword of death disappeared, and Lu Ming used the hammer of chaos to fight fiercely with his opponent. A huge hammer was formed in Lu Ming's hand, and he smashed it at Liu. Every strike was extremely heavy and could blow up a mountain and penetrate the earth. The two fought again, and after hundreds of moves, Lu Ming's hammer of chaos became stronger and stronger. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming sometimes used the hammer of chaos and the sword of death to hone his supernatural powers. Liu, on the other hand, was having a hard time. He was completely at a disadvantage. Lu Ming was getting stronger and stronger. He roared. He didn't want to be the first person to be defeated by a prodigy of the primordial realm. He wanted to turn defeat into victory, but everything was in vain. Bam! In the end, he was hit by Lu Ming's hammer of chaos, and even the 6 reincarnation vortexes exploded. His body retreated wildly, and blood spurted out. His face was pale and extremely ugly. He was defeated by someone from the primordial realm. Great! Many youths from the primordial realm cheered. The primordial realm finally won a battle, and their defeat wasn't that bad. Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, and the others even jumped up and cheered. Do you still want to fight? Lu Ming glared at Liu. Again. Liu roared, unwilling to admit defeat just like that. Junior brother, stop. At this moment, a voice resounded, and then a figure stepped out. It was the violet-haired young man. Liu seemed to be very obedient towards the purple-haired youth and stopped. Junior brother, you're no match for him. If you continue fighting, you'll definitely lose. There's no need for that. Let me do it. The purple-haired youth smiled. Senior brother, you want to make a move? Liu was stunned. I can suppress my cultivation and fight with him. The purple-haired young man said. There's no need for you to do anything. How about leaving this battle to me? Another voice sounded out. It was the gray-robed youth who had defeated Yuan Xin earlier. At this moment, he stepped forward. The purple-haired young man pondered for a moment and said, You can do it too. Lu Ming, right? Make your move. Let me see your strength. The gray-robed youth spoke as a primordial chaos cauldron formed in his hand. Boom! Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with the other party and directly attacked. The incomparably huge primordial chaos hammer smashed towards the other party. Since the gray-robed youth dared to attack, he was definitely stronger than Liu. Lu Ming didn't hold back and went all out. The gray-robed youth waved his hand, and the primordial chaos cauldron spun and suppressed Lu Ming. 2 types of laws. The gray-robed youth also controlled 2 types of laws. One was the strongest law, and the other was the ruler law. However, like Liu, his ruler law had yet to reach the 2nd level. However, his mastery of the primordial chaos law was obviously deeper. Boom! The primordial chaos hammer and the primordial chaos cauldron collided. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force surge through the primordial chaos hammer. Lu Ming's body shook and he retreated a few steps. However, the primordial chaos cauldron was also sent flying and was caught by the gray-robed youth. He's stronger than Liu. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The other party's mastery of the primordial chaos law was obviously deeper and stronger. However, Lu Ming wasn't afraid. He was only excited. Another person had come to hone his skills. Lu Ming stepped into the void and charged toward the gray-robed youth. Boom! Boom! After more than 10 moves, although Lu Ming was slightly at a disadvantage, he wasn't defeated. He became stronger as he fought and comprehended super skills in the battle. You want to use me as a whetstone? Impossible. I didn't say that I would suppress my cultivation to fight with you. The gray-robed youth said coldly. In the next moment, a shocking aura erupted from his body. It was much stronger than before. 3-star illusionary emperor. This was the gray-robed youth's true cultivation. He had already reached the peak of the 3-star illusionary emperor realm. He was just one step away from becoming a 4-star illusionary emperor. The gray-robed youth's cultivation erupted, and his battle strength soared. Lose for me. The gray-robed youth waved his hand, and the primordial chaos cauldron smashed toward Lu Ming again. Its power was much stronger than before. The primordial chaos cauldron suppressed the void and was as big as a mountain. Lu Ming retreated rapidly, but the primordial chaos cauldron chased after him at an astonishing speed. Boom! Lu Ming attacked with the primordial chaos hammer. The sky shook violently, and Lu Ming's body shook violently as he was sent flying a few thousand meters away. His arm shook slightly, and the web between his thumb and forefinger was torn, with blood seeping out. The difference between each rank in the martial emperor realm was huge. A 3-star illusionary emperor was much stronger than a 2-star illusionary emperor. If it was an ordinary 3-star illusionary emperor, Lu Ming could kill him instantly. However, the gray-robed youth was a genius among geniuses. He could kill opponents of a higher rank than him, and Lu Ming was no match for him. Buzz! The primordial chaos cauldron shook again and pressed down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming was sent flying again. His blood boiled, and blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. I can only use the 3rd bloodline. Lu Ming squinted his eyes. With a thought, the energy of the 3rd bloodline continuously flowed into Lu Ming's body, causing Lu Ming's body to be covered in a layer of blood-red light. Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed, and his killing intent was endless. Dong! Lu Ming held the primordial chaos hammer and sent the primordial chaos cauldron flying. Hiss hiss hiss, gasps could be heard at the scene. Countless people looked at Lu Ming with their mouths agape. Lu Ming still had energy left. He had not used his full strength before. How was this possible? They were shocked. How could this be? Tian Ming, Yuan Xian, and the others were also shocked. Lu Ming had defeated them without using his full strength, which was a huge blow to them. It's this kind of secret technique. Xing Xinghe's face was extremely ugly. Back in the Lotus world, Lu Ming had used this kind of secret technique to defeat him. Some experts from the Hung family, He family, and other forces were even more shocked. Lu Ming was too terrifying. Some of the Heaven Boundaries geniuses also had grave expressions. Kill! The gray-robed youth stepped on the primordial chaos cauldron and charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming met the gray-robed youth head-on. After borrowing the power of the 3rd bloodline, Lu Ming's battle strength increased greatly. He continued to exchange blows with the gray-robed youth and even gained the upper hand. Alright, let's stop here. Chapter 2140. A voice sounded. The voice was clear, but it contained supreme majesty. Hearing this voice, the gray-robed youth's expression changed, and he quickly retreated. Lu Ming also stopped and did not continue to attack. He withdrew the power of the 3rd bloodline, and the bloody light on Lu Ming's body disappeared. Everyone's eyes were on the figure sitting on the chariot, shrouded in divine light. He was the one who spoke just now. At this moment, the figure stood up and stepped out of the chariot. The divine light on his body was also withdrawn, revealing his true appearance. It was a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 40s. He wore a long robe and looked rather elegant. However, the great emperors of the Yuan realm hurriedly bowed and said, "Greetings, Lord Celestial Emperor." It was indeed the Celestial Emperor. Everyone was shocked, and then they followed suit and bowed, their voices resounding through the sky. The elegant middle-aged man nodded, and his gaze swept across Lu Ming, then swept across Tianming, Yuan Xian, and the others. He said, "The Yuan realm has also reached its golden age, and geniuses have gathered. Very good. Many of you are very talented. If you enter the celestial realm and receive the cultivation of the celestial realm, you will definitely rise quickly. I have decided that this time, the top 320 in the Yuan realm can follow me to the celestial realm to cultivate. Those cultivation holy lands will open their doors for you. At the same time, there will also be celestial emperors to guide you." The elegant middle-aged man said. "What? The top 320 can all go. And the celestial emperor will personally guide us." Many people's eyes were burning with passion. Especially those geniuses in the top 320. They were all ecstatic and excited. This meant that the 320 people who passed the selection could all go. Many who did not reach the top 320 had ugly expressions and sighed helplessly. The resources of the celestial realm were much better than the Yuan realm, and there was also the guidance of the celestial emperor. This was too tempting. Of course, when you enter the celestial realm, you will also be allowed to enter the battlefield at an appropriate time. There will also be some dangers in fighting with the foreign tribes. If you are not willing to go, I will not force you. Those who are not willing to go, say it now." The elegant middle-aged man said. No one stepped forward. Who would want to miss such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? Moreover, if they wanted to rise, they had to rise through fighting. None of these geniuses were afraid of fighting. Without tempering themselves, how could they set foot on the peak? Not a single person wanted to back out. Very good. The middle-aged man nodded and looked at Lu Ming with surprise in his eyes. After a while, he said, "Everyone in the top 320 can go, but you can't." What? These words caused everyone to be stunned. The celestial the arch said that Lu Ming could not go? What was going on? Lu Ming's strength was obvious to all. His battle prowess was unparalleled. Although he had yet to become a martial emperor, he had already grasped 5 types of laws. 2 of them were the strongest laws, and 3 were the King Dao laws. His battle prowess was terrifying. It could be said that no one had seen such a person since ancient times. But now, the celestial emperor actually said that Lu Ming could not go? Could it be that there were other arrangements? Many people's imaginations ran wild. Even Lu Ming himself was stunned. "Your Majesty, why can't I go?" Lu Ming was a little unwilling. If he could go to the cultivation holy lands of the heaven realm to cultivate, and even receive the guidance of the heavenly emperor, his cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. In today's great world, the foreign races were invading. He did not know when a great war would break out. He had to improve his strength as soon as possible. Your physique, below the martial emperor realm, can be said to be a peerless divine body, unparalleled. The celestial emperor looked at Lu Ming and said slowly. Many people were shocked. Even the celestial emperor described Lu Ming as a peerless divine body. Wait. Someone noticed that the celestial emperor said below the martial emperor realm. Sure enough, the celestial emperor continued, but at the same time, your physique is also a peerless trash. What? Countless people were shocked. Previously, the celestial emperor said that Lu Ming's physique was a peerless divine body. Why did he say that Lu Ming was a peerless trash now? Everyone was puzzled and did not understand what was going on. Sigh. The celestial emperor sighed as if it was a pity and said, "Since ancient times, those who cultivate the law system know that below the martial emperor realm, one can at most comprehend 1 type of law. It is impossible to control two types of laws. Many people's hearts skipped a beat. Didn't Lu Ming control many types of laws? They knew that the Celestial Emperor was most likely going to reveal a big secret. The Celestial Emperor continued, however, the Heaven Realm has been passed down for countless years. At the end of the Primordial Age, the law system rose to prominence. Until now, countless years have passed. In such a long time, who knows how many geniuses have appeared? Many geniuses have amazing talent. A long time ago, there were also people who broke the rules. Below the Martial Emperor realm, there were people who controlled many types of laws. There were even people who controlled more laws than you, but no one could control two types of supreme laws at the same time. Those people below the Martial Emperor realm were amazing. Their combat strength was unparalleled. Not to mention those of the same level, it would be easy for them to kill an empty emperor. However, these people could never break through to the Martial Emperor realm. The Celestial Emperor explained in detail. Everyone was shocked and their hearts were in turmoil. They could not calm down. It turned out that in the ancient times of the Heaven Realm, there were already such heaven-defying people who controlled many types of laws and had unparalleled combat strength. However, the most shocking thing was that these people could not break through to the Martial Emperor realm. Lu Ming was also shocked. He was dumbfounded. He could not break through to the Martial Emperor realm? Impossible. Lu Ming's eyes turned red. He could not accept it. At the same time, he recalled that in that world, he had tried to break through to the Martial Emperor realm but failed. He had almost torn his saint heart and body apart. As everyone knows, to break through to the Martial Emperor realm, one must transform the laws in the saint heart into the heart of the world. Then, with the heart of the world, the saint heart can evolve into a small world. However, controlling many types of laws is difficult to balance. It can be said that there is no balance at all and it is impossible to evolve the heart of the world. Once you force a breakthrough, the terrifying power of the laws will tear your saint heart and body apart. In history, geniuses like you have taken two paths. One is to force a breakthrough and then be torn to death by the power of the laws. The other is to be trapped in the quasi-emperor realm for the rest of your life until your life is exhausted and you die of depression. Rumble. The Celestial Emperor's words were like thunder, exploding in Lu Ming's mind. This was because what the Celestial Emperor said was too similar to what he had faced. No. Impossible. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. His eyes were bloodshot. He could not accept this fact. If he could not break through to the Martial Emperor realm, then what was the point of cultivating? Impossible. My master will definitely break through to the Martial Emperor realm. My master is unparalleled. Xiang shouted. Her face was pale and she could not accept it. No. Ouyang Moli, Chiu Moon, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others shook their heads. They could not believe it. The scene was in an uproar. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.